Hey everybody, what's going on? Welcome to the TwoToneMurphy channel. I'm your host, GibboIreland, and you're very welcome back. We are back again, folks. Can you believe it? It is day 3, the final day of FSExpo. Oh my god, it has flown by. And yes, we've made it, folks. I mean, the first day was Friday, and we had a 6-hour stream covering all the product announcements. That was a mammoth feast, but it was well worth sitting up for and paying attention because there was lots covered in that. That was epic. Then yesterday we did a floor walk where Murph for 2 hours took us through the floor. It seemed massive and gave us a good idea as to what it's like on the floor with each of the booths. Actually, that's a bit loud, that background music. I'll lower that right down so you can hear me. There we go. Amateur. Yeah, and he showed us off everything that was going on. We got to see some hands-on demos. There was lots of interviews. He was able to show us who was actually doing what and gave us a good insight as to what it's like. It seemed pretty packed as well, I gotta say. Lots of people around. And then after that, of course, we had the Microsoft Flight Sim 2024 presentation from Jorg, Seb, and friends. There was lots of people that jumped up on stage actually and gave partner demos and announcements and so forth. There was a couple of surprises, some things we expected and so forth. That was very interesting as well. I think they went way over time. So today for the third day, well, we'll be going back over to Murph shortly from the Rio Las Vegas to get his update as to the carry-ons after day 2 of the expo yesterday. That's usually where all the magic happens, you know, where all the shenanigans goes on and the real business deals get done and the tongues get loose. So we'll be checking in with Murph for updates on that. And then we have the Microsoft Flight Sim Marketplace presentation. So Marketplace, Gibbo, really, do I care much about that? I think you do. I think you do. So sit tight and I'll explain why, because I think it's going to be an interesting one. Now, they brought forward the time of that, by the way. So it's going to be in about 19 minutes to be exact, where we'll jump over and bring you live coverage from Microsoft of the Marketplace announcements. What I understand is they'll be doing a bit of a recap on some stats and figures and so forth on the Marketplace for Microsoft 2020, but they'll also be giving us an introduction to the Marketplace in Microsoft 2024. So it should be exciting because I don't think we know too much as to how they intend to do things. Is it the same? Is it more the same, or is it a lot different? We'll hopefully gain a good insight in that. So that's the plan of attack, and it's going to be a shorter stream than our previous 2, you'll be glad to know, but we will be going over to Murph shortly and checking out what's going on from the Rio. So I'm just going to say a quick hello to you all before we jump over to Murph, who's standing by. And Super Typhon, I'll jump over to Twitch first, is first in, and the chat moves as soon as I look at it. Okay, there we go. Gibbo, best streamer, part 3. Thank you. The brown envelope is in the post. I am clearly not good at this. I'll leave it in Murph's capable hands upon us. Murph, hurry up, come home. It's all yours. Kaharia, hi Kaharia, thanks for joining. Great to see you. Eagle Airways said, good evening, mate. Great to see you, Eagle Airways. How you doing, Aaron? Spitfire RAF is here. Evening, everyone. He says, great to see you. Thanks for being here. Willow How Much is back again. Hello everybody, hope you're all enjoying Flight Sim Expo. I know I am. It's definitely a different experience looking at it virtually, like with you all, than being there. But yeah, great to have Murph with boots on the floor to give us that insight. Kaharia asks, Murph, are you burnt to a crisp by the sun? I don't think so. In fact, I think he's gotten bluer. So we'll see how his tan is holding up shortly. Toto's here. Evening all. He says, how are you, Toto? Bellbro's here. Hey, chaps. So glad to be here. Work is just done. So let's chill. Great stuff. Super to have you, Bellbro. PH Roy is hello. How are you, PH Roy? Onboard Simulation is here. Murph is also in the chat. Totally spam on the chat. We'll need to get a mod all over you, Murph. So we can't be having that. Liptorius is here. Best Flight Sim Expo ever, he says. Really? Okay, good. Yeah, it's definitely their biggest. They're getting bigger and bigger every year. So they're doing something right, which is fantastic. I know it really is something else, isn't it? It's you know what I'd say about the expo is we've seen firsthand yesterday what it's about with the hands-on demos, with the getting to meet people, with seeing the product announcements. But one of the things that I think we overlook that I'm positive goes on is all the connections, is all the networking, is all the deals and partnerships and sidebar conversations and technical breakthroughs, that must be going on in these conversations with everybody being together over this weekend, and do we see the fruits of that in announcements later? Perhaps we do, or hirings, a movement. I'm sure the expo takes care of a lot of that. Again, we can touch base with Murph as to whether he's any insight into whether that's happening or not. Wombat is here as well. Great to see you. No Undies McGee, great to have you. Echo Charlie is here. Leo Lima Kilo Mike, great to see you. Good evening. And Kahari has a gifted sub there. Kahari, you're so good. Thank you so much indeed. Let's see who else. We have Old Veteran. How are you? Live from Vegas as well. Let's see, what do you say? Eagle Airways says, hello, is this ATC? Hello, can you tell me how to fly this thing? Yeah, we wish you could. You're talking to the wrong man. Let's see who else is here. Sean Dale is here. Darren Murphy, you look so much better these days. Those kegs must be helping. Yes, they definitely change things for the better. Gibbo secretly Canadian conformed. Yes, that. Yeah, I like to spice it up every day with a different hat. Keep things interesting. The Ghost, how are you? The Ghost, great to see you. Kill Dead Red Ted, great name. How are you? Hummingbird is here. Oh dear. Okay, Hummingbird. I went to a pub today with great reviews called, but when I went, I could see it was a vile inn. Happy third FSExpo day. Can't bring her anywhere. Okay. Yes, I totally messed that up. Don't read it. Oh, it's too late now, Hummingbird. Thanks for setting me up and then making me, okay, appreciate that. Right, on YouTube, you're very welcome on YouTube as well. Thanks so much. We nearly have 100 viewers on YouTube. You're very good to join me tonight. We will be jumping over live to the marketplace announcement in 15 minutes or so. So we have John Drace, great to see you. Darby's here. Tritz says, hi Murph, firstly can I say, you're that GibboIreland dude. I think you owe him a barrel full of whiskey. What a brilliant job he's done. The man's a legend. Hope you're both well. Tritz, the brown envelopes in the post. Thanks very much. Do you know what? I'm expecting Murph either to bring me back nothing or one of those stickers that he robbed from his walk around yesterday. I'd say that's as much as I can expect, but strange things have happened. Aviator's here as well. How are you, Mr. Martini and T Gladman? You're back again. Thanks so much for being here. Really do appreciate it. Nundy Slack says, hello Gibbo, shouting, and hello Fireflies. Kieran Niles here. Great to see you. Logo Lights is here. I hope we can get a look at some Just Flight stuff. Perhaps, and one of the things that the Murph asked yesterday on the stream was for your questions on Discord, if there's anything that you would like to get answered. So I know he has been looking at those. So we'll touch base with him on some things and some feedback and some questions that you had and see if he has got some answers for us. Dazzy Arab is here. Hello, he says. David Bartley is here. He's enjoyed all the stuff from the expo so far. Everybody's streaming, aren't they? Everybody's streaming, including ourselves. But we do it our way. Fly Coco 737 is here. A380 stream. I do wish. I would love to see the A380. I know that the fly-by-wire are showing that off. They showed it off last year too, to be fair, at the expo, and it's obviously a lot more advanced. So again, hopefully Murph has got some hands-on with that, and we can ask him for his thoughts there. Twins Channels here. Miranda is here, and YTB channel, and Ben Colhone is here as well. So great to see you. Thanks so much for being here. Right, without further ado, folks, we're going to jump over to TwoToneMurphy. We're going to check in with them, and I really want to talk to him about the marketplace as well and what we can expect to hear in about 13 minutes or so. So stand by, and we'll jump over straight to Murph. So, Murph, where are you? Are you there? Can you see us? Can you hear us?
Sure, look at it now. How's that going for you? You're all very welcome back once again to the Rio here in Las Vegas. And I'm wearing glasses because it's terribly bright outside. But check out me glasses. Look, I got these from Blue Games. They're lovely. Gibbo, you'll never guess what I got you now. And I was thinking long and hard, right? I was very busy yesterday. Yeah. And I said to myself, Jesus, what would Gibbo like? I got you, and it was very hard to get now, right? But I got you a Got Friends sticker, right? Limited edition, because I'm sure you'd like it. So that's what I got you. So yeah, brilliant, right? You can thank me now when I'm home. Yeah, it's been all go here, lads. It's been very, very busy, and well, you probably see by the hack of me, I stayed put early this morning, not venturing out. My evening yesterday, after all the events that went on, and yesterday was a super busy day. We ended up going out. There was an event with Microsoft, and It was over there actually. It was up on top of that, very high up, and it was grand. Now, it was nice, but I ended up in the casino last night with Kando, and Adam was there as well. And number 17 came in finally, lads. It was come on 17, you do, or words to that effect. And I was betting on 17, and for the first 30, 35, it didn't come in, and then it came in. So yes, it paid for the beverages for the evening time. So yeah, it's great here. As I said,
good man.
Right, do you know what I mean? I'm up slightly, but yeah, the event itself has been super good. Like, I mean, even last night, at the end of the announcements yesterday from Microsoft, I queued up and I was like, I'm next in line, and no, they called it. As I walked up, they're like, no, that's the end of the questions. It's like they knew it was me, they just wouldn't. So I got chatting to Evan afterwards, and I was like, Evan, did you not see? Like, I gave the puppy dog eyes. It's like, he goes, they worked. He goes, but we ran out of time. So I had the opportunity last night to get in front of Jorg, and had a nice chat. He's a lovely, lovely guy. And yeah, some details we can chat about that later on, Gibbo, after the marketplace.
Yeah, I would love to hear more about your chats with Jorg. You got Seb as well, I believe, too?
Got Seb as well. I chat with him, and amongst others, there's a photo booth thingy. I looked fantastic. So, Jesus, there was something wrong with the camera though, because when I turned around, there was like, it was like something they digitally removed hair on the back of my head. I don't know how they did it.
Yes. Right. Yeah, I have that too. Actually,
I have to. Right. Do you know what? Right. These glasses, I actually got them yesterday. We were on that panel yesterday, and it was a lot of fun. I mean, we had Forder was there, we had Symphanatic, we had XB72, we had Alison Johnson, we had Jesus. Now, if I can remember, we Blue Games, we had Mark Simhanger. And it was, did I get everyone? Yes, I hope I did. It was great fun. And at the end of it, Blue reached into the bag and he goes, I got everyone a pair of these glasses. And I looked at them and said, that's really, really nice. They won't get around my head. But they actually kind of do. They fit. And I'm going to wear these now today so people can't be looking at where my eyes are looking, because that got me into terrible trouble yesterday, lads. Thanks very much for that. Phone call from Mrs. Two-Tone this morning. Well, I see you're enjoying yourself. I was like, yes, dear. Why'd you say that? Oh, I saw you spotting the local scenery. I was like, she goes, not the scenery outside. I was like, all right. So yes, loads of trouble, and it's great now. I'm going to live in Vegas. In fairness, like this sort of a view, kind of, it's not too bad. So I'll probably stay here for the foreseeable. Please send help and food.
Okay, so Murph, we'll catch up. The reason being that we this has been fast tracked, right? There was a time change with the seminar, so it's going to happen in 9 minutes now. We are expecting it a little later on, so we thought we'd have more of a chance to catch up with you in advance of it, but we will definitely catch up with you after. We want to hear what Jorg and Seb had to say. You've also been looking at the Discord questions as well, so we might cover a couple of those. Just some comments going on about the A380, and if you've seen that too, so we'll maybe touch base with you on that as well. But if I could talk to you just for the next few minutes in advance of the presentation we're about to see about the marketplace, right? So the marketplace actually is an interesting one because it's driven a lot of conversation both on your live streams as well as on Discord in the past, whereby there's been 5 things in particular, I think, very quick, and my question is, which of them do you hope to see today, and what do you hope to see about it? The 5 things that has driven a lot of conversation and debate, and some of it quite strenuous, has been, the first one has been about their level of QA and curation of what goes onto the marketplace. Should it be stronger? There's a lot of lesser quality, let's say, that's going on there. Are they going to do something about that? What level of involvement do they take? So that's definitely one that, as I say, has been debated quite strenuously. The second has been some sort of a rating system. Is that something that would help if we could have that really in a way that it can stand for itself as far as helping to guide people as to whether or not it's a reliable purchase. The third was sort of a trial and refund type of system as well. Will we see anything about that? The fourth was to do with processing approval times. So we hear from developers even still that's quite lengthy, and as such, it's better to buy from them directly rather than take advantage of the marketplace. And then I suppose with a 2024 hat on, will your purchases carry over? I presume they will, but I don't know if that's explicitly been said. So they're kind of the 5 burning things related to the marketplace that I think is on everybody's mind at the moment. What of those 5, would you care about most, and what would you hope to see perhaps covered?
Sure. Like, I think, so when it comes to quality control, this seems to be a huge issue when add-ons are released, because we'll find bugs or we'll find issues, and Thankfully, a lot of the time they tend to be quite small, and developers are fairly quick to get stuff out there. We'll see a lot of other developers will only release external to the marketplace because it allows them what they call a rapid patch to be placed before the marketplace then push out their add-ons. There is a lot of questions about the rating system. There's still a head scratching moment in regards to how things are refunded if you get a product and it doesn't work. And like look, there's no one here trying to, I think, pull a fast one. You just got the logistics, right? I mean, if you download a product, what's to stop you from keeping said product and still request a refund? I mean, these are the challenges that the guys have. For me, yes, absolutely, a burning question is, will your add-ons purchased carry over to the next sim? My understanding is yes, they will, because they might require a patch. We saw it on the conference yesterday. 1 hour really is all that's required from developers to update the aircraft to take full advantage of the new physics. And what I found interesting, how Asobo seemed to have coded this, from my understanding, a developer doesn't actually have to now edit their flight model. They just have to edit their core file to be impacted externally by the new flight model, which is kind of an interesting way to go about it. Now, unless it's me, right, I could have that completely wrong, but the general understanding. Okay. They just do a tweak on the file, and then the new flight model can take over. So yeah, listen, a rating system I think is very, very important. You can't see the aircraft. You can't do like a virtual showroom, like get up close and personal. You're looking at a couple of photos. There's no way to know were those photos enhanced or digitally edited. That's a problem. They should be verified. I mean, any kind of website you go to, be any other marketplace, if you're going to buy a product, you'll see if photos are verified or the user and all this sort of jazz. That's something I'd like to see, because we just want to, you want to protect what you're going to spend money on, right? But I think most importantly for the marketplace, it's getting people on there, and it's also going to be, is there like a gateway, a freeware gateway that creators can, upload or make edit to default things, be it the scenery gateway. We've seen this on other platforms. I think this would be amazing then if you can get freeware products onto their marketplace and then get them into Xbox and keep them on the PC. So for me, I'd be really excited if they announce that today.
Okay, so that's another great point. The other thing was and York. Now, this is my memory, right? There was a lot covered yesterday by York and Seth, but York touched on something to do with weapons. Do you think their weapons policy might change in terms of combat type stuff, or is that still where it's always been? So, like,
if I was in charge, right, and there wasn't, and I didn't have the red tape or the responsibilities, if you like, that they have, and let's face it, they have. I mean, if they want to get Boeing in there or they want to get Airbus in there, these guys are going to kind of write the ground rules. We don't want to see this, we don't want to see that. And we've seen this, right? We've seen this with Gran Turismo back in the day. There was no damage allowed on any of the vehicles. Like we've seen this in the industry. Like there's nothing new here. However, what if there was an expansion pack? So the base simulator that's fully licensed and that goes out the gap. But then there's a new product that's an expansion, and it opens up all the military side of things, perhaps, and who knows, combat. I mean, the objective here is to get more people using this simulator. It's get more people into Microsoft Flight Simulator, and if they're going to target gamers, for the vast majority, why play? Right? You want to game, you want to do something, you want to achieve something, and having combat in a simulator, I think, it's flying, right? I mean, you associate, you don't just associate aviation and kind of combat, but they're so closely linked. I mean, if you think of any aircraft, yes, you'll list off the civilian yokes, the airliners, and a couple of GA, but let's face it, folks are going to say F-18s, F-16s, you know what I mean? Like that's what they're going to go for. Yeah, they look cool, and then you're thinking, well, if it's a gaming element, sure, you can do races, right? I mean, yeah, you can do missions perhaps with like a career mode and landing challenges. You have all these things, but combat is where it needs to be at. I mean, if for whatever way we do it, even if it's like a laser tag system, I don't know, but if there's something there, that'd be, if they can do that, it's a game changer completely.
Yeah, 100%. I mean, it's interesting some of the comments that we're seeing in chat as well. So yes, they need a combat sim from Mr. Ferguson. Sean says, actually not Sean, sorry, there was another one here. Sean does say sparks and flashes but no launch. Okay. Excessively Salty says the marketplace really needs to be accessible from a web browser. It's a good point. They'd have to do something with that, right? We've seen others step up to help, bridge that gap. It would be great if it was more native as well. Epic Fool says, that bed looks very unmade. Great reflection, though. Yes, the white backdrop does help. Murph, that shirt is quite something. I can see why you need sunglasses with that shirt on. But
no, but like, right, to be fair about it, right, I mean, I went with this because I had the Irish colours, and when I started wearing it, Adam wore a blue version of it. So people were passing comment when we were out the other night, because here's two fellas, both from Ireland, wearing the most colourful shirts you can ever get in your life. And it was a popular conversation. Now we hadn't played. No, I'm grand, thanks. No, do you know, like, but it was, yeah, it's, don't mind the reflections there. That's all CGI. That's a green screen. I'm actually back in Tipperary. It's lashing rain, and you know, but yeah, trust Epic Fool to find that.
Yeah. Well, look, we'll be moving over to the seminar shortly. It hasn't quite started yet. It's due to the next minute or so. But look, in contrast to yesterday, where we were hoping for, you know, all our questions to be answered, and we still have lots remaining, it might probably be the same with this as well, where those 5 things, probably they might touch on one of them, right? We have to sort of set our expectations. There's still a long runway to go to the release of Microsoft 24, of course, right?
Of course, and like any changes they might have in place now for the marketplace, I don't see them being massive for, you know, Flight Sim 2020. It'd be great if there were, right? But I think it's more to see, well, okay, look, we've got the feedback, we know where you're at, and these are the changes we're going to bring into the next. Like, as of today, you still cannot buy, or, you know, you can't purchase an add-on on Marketplace and then gift it onwards. You can't, like, and that's like a huge opportunity missed. Think of Christmas time, think of birthdays, you know, hey, I want to buy it, come on, you're sorted, it's in your account right now. That would create so much financial activity for them, I think, and it's still not implemented. So yeah, it's not a case that, and like, this is the feedback you get. It's not a case that they're oblivious to this. It's not like they're not aware of this. They're absolutely aware of all these things, but it's however they're going to manage, you know, to get us from here up to there. That's where the challenge lies.
Yeah. Okay. All right. Well, Murph, with that said, I think the broadcast is going to start now shortly, so we'll jump away from you. We might catch you after it. Yes. Very professional, folks. Very professional.
There's an elevator in my room.
Definitely have to mute him as well. So, folks, we're going to jump over to, I tell you, it's like working with a child sometimes. Do you know what I mean? We're going to jump over to the actual live broadcast of the MSFS marketplace that is coming very shortly. So I'll unmute it and bring you over to it. So here we go. And we're just waiting for that to kick off, but it is live at the moment. It is up and running, so we're just waiting for them to flip a switch so we can actually see the presenters today. I have no idea. I think that Microsoft did say that a number of the marketplace team are planning to come over for the expo for this presentation specifically. I don't think we'll see Jorg and Seb, so they're running a slight bit late. And here's Jorg. Speak of the devil. All right, over to Jorg.
Hi. I'm actually not the one presenting today, but thank you all for coming. Hey, that's a good thing. Thank you all for coming. I'm actually super excited about this presentation. We've had this marketplace, obviously, in the Sim since launch, and we've never done really any information sharing. And I'm super happy today. Our head of business for Flight Sim, Julie DeRamio, is going to give you a lot of insight. And then our partner, our program lead for the marketplace, Mabel, is going to give you more information, and then comes the marketplace partner engineering lead, Todd Heckel. And with that, Julie, if you can come up, have fun. I'll come back later on. Bye.
Hello, everyone. Thank you. As Jorg mentioned, I am the head of the marketplace team, or the business team, and I'm responsible for marketplace, licensing, and just general business. And I've been working with Jorg on Flight Sim ever since he first pitched rebooting the franchise over 8 years ago. I'm really excited to be here with all of you today. It's my very first time at Flight Sim Expo, and I've just been so overwhelmed with how nice everyone is, how passionate everybody is about simming, and just how much you've embraced the Microsoft Flight Simulator team. We just really feel the love and really appreciate it. So when we first thought about bringing a marketplace directly into the sim, we had two main goals. One was to make it easier for creators or add-on developers to address the widest possible audience. We always knew we were going to bring it to the Xbox audience, and so we wanted to make that available to you. And secondarily, we wanted to make it much easier for users to get content right in the experience. And we had really modest expectations of how well the marketplace was going to perform, so we started with a really small team of people, and we've been growing it over time. I'm sure many of you have felt the pain, maybe, of how small the team has been and how long it might take for your content to get into the marketplace, but we are making investments in this space, and the team will talk about that later on. We've really been thrilled with the performance of the marketplace so far, and it's really amazing to think about launching in August 2020 with just 8 pieces of content, and now we have over 3,700 pieces of content in the sim, which is really amazing, and thanks to a lot of you in the room. So my goal in the first part of the presentation is just to share some insights from the marketplace with you. So let's get started. Clicking. I did
Just the
it.
green button. Yeah, it looks like it's good. Audience? Try again. Yeah, no joy. She's clicking. No joy, guys.
Confirmed.
Yeah, it's coming out. We'll grab you the backup. Can we just advance the next slide while we're waiting?
We'll stay here on audience real quick. Sorry, I'm yelling. So the first question is for us really, like, who is the audience? When you're thinking about selling add-ons in your marketplace, you want to know like how wide that top of the funnel is. So Jorg announced yesterday that we've, reached 15 million players in Microsoft Flight Simulator, which is unprecedented in this flight sim space. So that is really great for add-on developers. So now we can look at those users on a monthly basis and by platform. Or not. The build-up is amazing. Okay. So there are several platforms that our simmers can enjoy Microsoft Flight Simulator on. They can buy it on the Windows Store, they can buy it on Steam and play on PC, or they can buy it on the Xbox, or also on Xbox Games Cloud, what we call in shorthand xCloud. And simmers can acquire it a variety of ways. They can either pay a flat fee and get the sim that way, or they can sign up for Xbox Game Pass, pay a monthly subscription fee, and get it that way. So when you look at our players by platform, the largest number of users are on the Windows Store and Xbox, and that is due in part because they can access it through Game Pass. The Xbox or xCloud audience is a little smaller than those two, and they can be, they're accessing it maybe a different way. They can either play on low-end PCs, they can play on last-gen consoles, or they can even play on mobile. Now, Steam, the line in orange, has had historically the lowest volume of players, and that's really because they are gated behind a pay gate, right? They have to pay up front, but they are a consistent and really growing audience for us. And overall, this is what you want to see, like a really solid band of users that are coming back on a regular basis. Oh yeah, the clicker's working. All right, so now we'll pivot over to the marketplace audience, so who's actually paying for content. And I'll talk to you about the size, the geography of where these payers live, what platforms they're buying on, and what kind of content they're buying. So how many are there? So I'm here to announce today how exciting that we've had over 1 million people purchase content in the sim, which is thrilling for us. Now we talk about pay rates, so that's the percentage of people that come into the sim who actually purchase content. They could purchase just one item and they would be considered a paying player, right? So if you look at the percentage of players that are paying for content, you can see we've been just slowly increasing that percentage over time as we've added more and more content to the sim. You'll also see spikes in pay rates when we run our platform sales. We have 4 tentpole sales that we run each year, and that really drives a lot of pay rate increases. And then one thing to notice here is that we had a really, the high watermark for pay rates occurred in April 2023. We had a conversion of 4 events happening at the same time that really drove that spike. So we had a spring sale we were running. We also introduced WASM, so we could bring more planes to the Xbox audience. We also had a plane where we gave the proceeds to charity that was wildly popular. And last but not least, we introduced a discount for first-party planes if players owned a premium version of the sim. So that really spiked there in April 2023. Now, if you look at the orange line, that's Steam again. It has historically been the highest monetizing audience as far as the percentage of players that purchase. And again, that's because they've already self-selected and said, I'm willing to pay, I've paid up front for this game, so they're a little more willing to pay. But we launched on Xbox almost a year after, and as we've added content to that marketplace as well, we've seen pay rates continue to increase. Now, it has overtaken the Steam audience here in the last 2 months, April and May. They've had higher conversion rates. And, the Xbox audience for all Xbox games has really been a high-value audience for us. And that holds true for the players that are playing Flight Simulator as well. So we've got 1 million purchasers. How much are they spending? 58% of the audience has spent $50 or less. We've got 24% that have spent over $100, and we almost have 40,000 players who have spent more than $500 in the sim life to date. There's probably some of you even here in the room, so thank you for that. Now, where are these payers coming from? Where do they live? When we look at it by continent, it's probably not surprising to most of you that it's split between North America and Europe at 43%, and then followed very far behind with Asia at 6%. As far as our reporting to our creators, we're hoping to add country-level information so you can see that on a regular basis going forward, but I don't have any timing to announce on that yet. Now, what are they buying when they're in the marketplace? With Flight Sim, it's not surprising that 42% of purchases are for aircraft. What might be a little more surprising is that the catalog, only 24% of the catalog is aircraft, so it really shows how people care about aircraft. And this is just an overall combined of all the platforms. It does vary by platform. So on the Windows Store, that audience is more open to non-aircraft purchasers. Their aircraft percentage is 37%. And then on the Xbox and xCloud, they are more focused on aircraft. The Xbox audience, 45% of their purchases are planes, and 51% of purchases on xCloud are for planes. All right, let's bring it home. We'll just give you a quick view of revenue here. So we've had consistent players. I've shown you the chart. We've seen those consistent players, and I've showed you the increase in pay rates that we've seen over time. And that just really equates to growing revenue all up for us. We've been able to deliver double-digit growth every year since we launched. What's probably most surprising for us is this Xbox percentage of our revenue. You know, we launched over 40 years ago, PC-only title, so we weren't sure how this market was going to perform and whether they were willing to pay. In 2023, 36% of our revenue came from the Xbox audience, which is awesome. And for those of you that are in the marketplace, you know that the royalty rates we provide are better on our platforms. And the good news is that our platforms make up 67% of the revenue as well. All right, I'm going to shift gears a little bit and talk a little bit about pricing. For add-on developers, that's one of the decisions you need to make when you're ready to release content. What price do you want to set it for? And it's also very intertwined with the quality of the content. So let me just share some more information here. First, I'm going to talk just about user research. So we regularly conduct surveys of our team, or of our users. So we did a survey, we do them all the time, but the two I'm sharing here, we did one in January 2021, and then we just did another one this month. And we asked people, you know, are you buying content in the marketplace? Like, the great news is, in between that time frame, we took the no's down from 64% down to 19%, which is amazing. But of course, we're going to focus on the negative for a moment. What about that 19% that hasn't purchased? Why don't they want to purchase? So the people saying there's no content they want to buy, luckily, that number has gone down dramatically, and that is really due to all the content that has been able to come to our marketplace. We've decreased that percentage by almost 50%. Other feedback we've had is it's hard to find content, or they don't know how to do it. Mabelle's going to talk to you a little bit about our new interface. And then sadly for us, the Microsoft team, we have seen an increase in people that desire to purchase content outside of the sim. But what I really want to talk about is this one that has been hovering around 35 to 33% of people that just said the content's too expensive. So we do surveys, and we did one in October 21, specifically for the PC audience, and it's called a Van Westendorp sensitivity analysis, where you give people different price points and you say, is that too expensive? Is that too cheap? And then it tells you the optimal range. So this is specifically for PC players and specifically for airlines only. The optimal range came out to be between $12 and $19. For a more experienced player, that increased, and their optimal range was between $19 and $27. In the chart at the bottom, we also show the results of our Xbox respondents, and the main takeaway here is that the PC audience is willing to spend about 2 to 3 times what an Xbox player is willing to spend, except when you look at more novice players, and then the pricing differential goes away. But that's interesting, right? That's what people say they're going to purchase, but what do they really do? What are they purchasing? So we look specifically at aircraft by price band. The most popular price band, with about 25% of the volume, is the $15 to $20 range. And a whopping 73% want to spend $25 or less. Now, when you look at it based on user scores, it's not surprising that the higher rated content drives the bulk of the purchases. Over half of the purchases are for content that's rated a 4.1 or higher, and 86% if it's 3.1 or higher. Now, when we combine both of those together, the price and the user scores, you can kind of see where people are landing. What really popped out to me here is that in the sub $20 range, there's just a lot more appetite for content with ratings that are 3.5 or lower, as the expectations for quantity really increase in the higher price points. In the $40 range, there is no content that's purchased that's below a 3.6 user score. And I also think that has to do with add-on developers who are pricing their content appropriately. If they're gonna price their content above $40, they're pretty confident they've got a good quality product. Now, if I shift my focus here and look just at airports, the price bands shift to the lower prices a bit here. The $10 to $15 price point is the most popular, but it's really a normal distribution curve here. I think the most interesting thing is just how the purchases drop off above $20 for an airport. Now, this didn't pop on the other slide, so I wanted to break it out here, but when you look at it by user score, it's just really clear that airports really sell when they are high quality. They need to be a 3.6 or higher. 79% of purchases happen at a 4.1 or higher. There are over 1,800 airports available, so purchasers can just be much choosier with the content that they're purchasing. So since it's a more competitive market, I thought I'd share some heat maps of where these purchases are occurring. Sure, it's not that shocking, but it's really focused on European airports and then a lot of the coast of North America as well. Just digging into Europe a little bit. A lot of focus on Germany, London, Switzerland. Oh, and I have one more thing. So I know it's bad form to talk about money amongst friends, but I'm gonna do it anyway. So I just want to talk a little bit about the economics of bringing your content to our marketplace. When you agree to the marketplace agreement, we tell you the percentage that we'll pay you for your content. That percentage is based on the USD list price of the content. What actually happens is that Microsoft doesn't get the USD list price. We actually accept purchases in all sorts of currencies, so we absorb the currency impact of all of those purchases. So you might think maybe that there are better royalty rates somewhere else, but if you consider that we're paying you off of money that we're not receiving, you can actually add 6 percentage points to what you're getting, and that's actually what you're getting of what Microsoft receives. So just wanted to make you aware of that as you're thinking about where to put your content day and date, because we'd love to have it in our store. All right, I'm going to hand it off to Mabel, who is going to talk to you about 2024. Thank you.
Thank you, Julie. So, as Julie mentioned, I am the Microsoft Flight Simulator Marketplace Program Lead. I joined the team just before we launched MSFS 2020 4 years ago. And we started with a handful of items in the InSim marketplace and are currently sitting at almost 4,000 items released. So it's been so wonderful to see the energy and enthusiasm of our creator and player community. And we're just super delighted to be here at Flight Sim Expo with you today. Thank you for joining us. So I will be giving you a high-level overview of the marketplace content in 2024. So here's a first look at the marketplace homepage in 2024. So we heard your feedback on 2020. You want the marketplace to be more streamlined, look less cluttered, and allow content to be found more quickly. So core design principles for 2024 were simplicity, ease of navigation, and discoverability of content. Jorg and Seb have also mentioned our commitment to backward compatibility. And we are bringing 2020 content to 2024 so that Simmers can continue to use the content library that you built in 2020 and add to it in 2024. No need to start from scratch. We're also doing this so that products that developers released in 2020 can carry forward. And you can monetize your content in 2024 based on your existing catalog. So the plan for most 2020 content is to be available in 2024 with some exceptions. The team is focused on making aircraft work, because as Julie mentioned, that is a really big category for us in the marketplace. And there are significant efforts underway, along with automated testing, for airports and sceneries. Some areas where issues may be encountered include add-ons that refer to biomes and missions. So our top priority remains making the content transition from 2024 as friction-free and easy as possible. So with almost 4,000 items in the 2020 marketplace, how do we bring content over to 2024? So this will be a bit of an involved process, so bear with me as I walk you through it. So SOBO will start by migrating the entire 2020 marketplace catalog to 2024. And it's important to note here that migrating is not the same as releasing. By migrating, we mean that content will be brought over to the 2024 pipeline, but not released. The migrated content will then be made available to the respective developers for functional testing, just like what we do now for 2020. And content must have developer sign-off to be released in the 2024 marketplace. If we don't have developer sign-off, the migrated content is not released in 2024. And all 2020 content submitted going forward will go through the same process. Content carried over from 2020 will be marked 2020 in the 2024 marketplace. As you can see there with the little circles around the content. So for our content compatibility story, we prioritize you, the simmer, and your experience. So continuing with the goal of making things as simple and seamless as possible, your content will follow you both ways. So if for all 2020 marketplace content that you have purchased, you automatically own the migrated version in 2024 if it is available. And on the flip side, if you purchase the migrated 2020 version in 2024, you also automatically own the content in 2020. So content carried over from 2020 will also be marked 2020 in the 2024 Content Manager. And in addition to content compatibility, both developers and simmers will have more choice in 2024. If you're a content developer, you can choose to make a 2024 version of your 2020 content.
Hello there.
You can also choose to offer an upgrade from the 2020 version as free or paid. So if you do make a 2024 version, it will replace the carried over version in the marketplace. And new purchasers can buy the 2024 version at the full price that you set as a developer. And 2020 version owners can still access the carried over version if it's available, but they can also choose to get the 2024 version at the upgrade price that the developer sets. And you can see there by the side-by-side screenshots of what you will see if you're a new purchaser for content versus an 2020 owner who has an upgrade path available. So we can't have a marketplace without our valued partners who create the content. So also want to provide a quick update on our partner program and workflow. If you're a marketplace partner approved for 2020, you remain approved for 2024. There is no need to reapply. Thanks. So we do have a long list of pending applications, as you all may be aware. We are continuing to work through this. Our community team has asked which developers you would like to see on the marketplace, and your feedback helps improve our review and approval process, so thank you for that. And of course, it's provided the developers called out have applied to our program. And the content process for our partners is being streamlined for 2024, which will be covered in the next part of this presentation. And last but not least, we have a few things becoming available in late September 2024 that we'd like to share with you today. So we'll have the 2024 SDK and build. We'll have the 2020 migrated content available for partner testing. And we will also have the submission pipeline for 2024 content, for which I'll hand off to Todd to go into more detail.
Hello, everybody. As George said, I am with the Marketplace Partner Program team. We are responsible for developing the tools and the processes that are used to ingest content and get it into the InSim marketplace. So I'm going to talk about some of the improvements that we're making in that process, to streamline and help you get your content into the marketplace faster. Just curious if I could have maybe a show of hands, how many of you are approved marketplace developers? Okay, so kind of a 50-50 mix. Well, if you're interested in the program, you can see here on the main Flight Simulator website, there's a link to apply to the program. And you can also get to that sign-up flow from Partner Center. You can see the link there, kind of in the left-hand side, the Microsoft Flight Simulator Partner Program. Okay, so those of you who are approved partners are familiar with the website. We call it the Marketplace Content Portal, MCP for short. How many of you get the reference? Tron? Monitor Control Program, okay. So this is where you can upload your content and keep track of the content that you've previously uploaded. And then you can also monitor the progress of your content through the testing process, ingestion and testing process. Now, you're also aware that the functional testing is the responsibility of the partner. So we have the UI here where you are informed when your content is available to you in your segment and ready for you to sign off. So once that's available to you, you will test it on your side, and then you will sign off on the content once it's complete. Now, as with 2020, your content packages will be uploaded through MCP. And we're working on improving what we call the validation that happens. So things like invalid characters and file names or incorrect thumbnail resolutions will be caught earlier in the process. Instead of having to get informed through Teams, you'll find out as soon as you upload. So you'll get that immediate feedback. Unlike in 2020, where much of the process, the ingestion process, is manual, the entire process in 2024 is going to be automated. This means you'll be able to iterate faster, your content will be available to preview in the game and to test almost immediately. Now for Xbox, with WASM, there still is going to be some turnaround time to process the WASM, but we are also making changes to shorten that time. So, instead of taking over a week, as it currently does, it'll be much faster than that. So what this means is there's no waiting for Microsoft to hand the content back to you to test it. You'll be able to perform your testing and ensure that the content is ready to be released on your own, time frame. Now, one big change to the process for 2024, if you recall, in 2020, you author your marketplace, what we call the metadata, in the project editor, in the SDK, and then that's exported as part of the package that's submitted to the MCP website. And here you can see a screenshot where we pull out some of that data just to validate the data and indicate, if there's any issues like, the title doesn't have the iCow in it for airports, for example. In 2024, all of the marketplace data entry is moving to the website, it's moving to MCP, so that will no longer be done in the SDK or in the project editor. So you'll enter the title, your price, description, categories, tags, and also add your thumbnails, manage your thumbnails here. What this means is you'll be able to submit your content packages separate from the marketplace data. And if you have to make changes to the marketplace data, if you do have a problem with a thumbnail or you want to change the price, you don't have to re-upload the entire content package. So, yeah, we think that'll greatly speed things up. Okay, so as I mentioned earlier, you'll be testing your content prior to submitting it, okay? The content will be ingested automatically, you can do your testing, and then when it's ready, you'll submit a release request. At that point, that will kick off the process on our end with our test teams, our QA, and the content will be automatically released once that process is complete. So this will reduce all the time lost currently, to going back and forth through teams, on issues that get discovered and then resubmissions that have to take place. So we're hoping to, again, this will greatly speed up the process. Once you submit that release request, that's it, you're done. The content will show up when it gets through the pipeline on our end. Okay, so that's the main flow. There are some additional improvements that we're planning to make using through the Marketplace Content Portal. One of the big ones will be sales. As some of you know, right now the process for handling sales is also very manual. You have to submit a request through Teams, or you receive an invitation through Teams, and then you provide the information about which products you want to put on sale, how much, so on and so forth, all done manually. That will all move into the MCP website, and you'll be able to handle all of that in a more streamlined fashion. Hangar descriptions, which is the text that shows up in the hangar once a user has purchased the product. These are written by writers on our side and then handed off to the developer to be included in the package. And then when localization takes place, there's another handoff that has to happen that can be somewhat tricky, and problematic. That's all going to go away. We're going to be implementing a centralized database for the hangar descriptions, and you'll just include a reference in your package to the description. So yeah, that should ease a lot of the pain and suffering as well. And then finally, for user access to MCP, we'll have the ability for you to add users, have some controls over who can do what without having to go through Teams when you want to add more people, give more people access to your content management. And that's it. Thank you very much.
Thank you. I'm back. Hello. All right. I hope you enjoyed this. This was an experiment, just to be super clear, right? We're like, hey, we don't ever talk about the marketplace. Understand? I was just talking with Evan about the chat. Some people are like, hey, I'm a gamer, why am I launching this? And then some other people are like, hey, I'm a developer, this is great information. So I think we're just, in general, we want to be very transparent with everything, and we want to have a dialogue. So this is a dialogue. This was an experiment. Give us some feedback in the chat. We will read it all, like always. I would say, from my perspective, the marketplace stuff is super important for a couple of reasons. So I look at the first slides that Julie showed, for example, about, hey, this is all about, for example, North America and Western Europe. Should it always be that? I can tell you, like when I chatted yesterday about the 38 world updates that are currently planned, or 28 to go, basically, or whatever. That's mostly focusing on other places, South America, Asia, and we will bring new markets to flight simming, which I think is really important, and it might mean something to y'all. The other things, I hope you like the new UI. That was a sneak peek. It's pretty slick. The other thing that was said, I don't know if you caught it. I was sort of joking back there because I was sitting back there. I was like, I think there was a soft announcement when we're shipping the SDK. So the target actually is, and I think Mabel said it, end of September, we should have the SDK in your hands if you're a developer. So that gives you enough time. Yeah, and I think that's basically it. Give us some feedback. This is not going to be a one-off. We're going to have that marketplace team give dev Q&As, kind of like what we do. We need to have more dialogue. I think it's been too one way or no way even. So please participate in that. It might be, I don't know, might be quarterly or something. We haven't really quite figured it out yet. But anyways, I hope you liked it. Thank you so much for coming and have a great rest of the Expo.
And there we have it, folks. We'll cut away from the live coverage of the seminar there from Jorg and team on the Microsoft Flight Sim Marketplace covering 2020 and 2024. So, yeah, it'd be interesting to know what you think. Your comments are flying through on chat, that's for sure. It definitely seemed more orientated towards partners and developers. I think that's absolutely fair to say. But with that said, coming back to our list that we had at the start as the things that us mere mortals were interested in seeing from the marketplace, perhaps there was one or two things that actually did resonate there that we can perhaps touch on in a moment as well and see if they hit the mark. So I'm going to jump over and bring back in Mr. TwoToneMurphy. So stand by because I want to get the faces he makes on the other screen. It's just ridiculous. So stand by, folks. 1 second. I'm Murph. I think you're still there, are you? Oh dear.
How are you?
How are you?
Yeah.
Why did you make it?
So listen, I changed my shirt.
Good man.
I don't. Okay, there was a couple of points, right? First and foremost, it's a great insight, right? Because we're not privy to this as consumers, and a lot of developers aren't privy to this information either. So this was important for developers. There's no question about that. There were a couple of things though. I took notes. Hang on, I get them. Oh Jesus, I'm very professional with my little booking here beside me. But the first thing I copped on the menu, as we had a look at the new UI, there was an option there that says customize. All right, so we have aircraft, we have liveries, we have scenery, and we have an option there for customize. I wonder what that is. I mean, are they going to go down the road of, hey, you want this jacket? That's going to cost you flight points. Because if you notice on the UI up at the top right hand corner, it showed a level. Now, is that their Xbox level and then a score beside that? Who knows? Is there going to be some sort of a credits system? If you fly, you're generating credits and then you can redeem stuff. That's what it looks like to me, unless I completely didn't see it right. What do you guys think of the chat? It was there. Gibbo, what do you reckon? Would they go down that road?
Yeah, I noticed that tab as well that said customization. I think that's how they titled it. What is that now? Is that where your specific wish list goes in, or I'm just trying to think. What could it be? Is it anything that's tailored for you? Is that a way that they're going? I don't know. I'm no clue.
I thought it was interesting, and a discussion around, if you were to talk about, listen, you can customize your avatar, or you can customize, I don't know if you have a hangar, or I don't know what they could do with it. I mean, it's they could do a lot with it, right? I mean, you look at the likes of, say, Forza, and you can get skins or all the sort of jazz. I mean, it's a nice thing to see, right? I mean, customization. I mean, sure, but let's see where they go with it. But definitely more questions coming out of it than there were answered. But the second one was then the upgrade price, right? So we saw an image of an aircraft, and it had the current price, or if you already owned it, you just re-download it again, and that'll work inside the Microsoft Flight Sim 2020 environment. However, if you want to get the same add-on in the 2024 environment, there was a little upgrade price. My question to that is, at the moment, there is currently no way for a developer to make something free on the marketplace. I mean, there was all sorts of crack about the scroll bar at the side, this thickness, the thick bar.
Parallel 42, yeah.
Right, and there was all sorts of, oh Jesus, then what are we going to do about this? And then a bit of pressure turned on them, and they made, okay, we'll make it for free.
Hello there.
Yeah.
if I was a developer and I want to get something up there, if I want it on the marketplace, there has to be a fee. So does that mean now, regardless of what the developers are telling us, if they're exclusively on Microsoft Marketplace, do we have to pay for an upgrade, regardless of what that developer has said? And that one it's very much pointed at FS Reborn, because when we know FS Reborn, you can only buy their add-ons through the marketplace. So where you have RHEL saying, no, listen, I'm going to upgrade it. I'm not going to charge you for it. Will they get the option not to charge? Because currently they have to charge, and it's not them charging; it's Microsoft charging. So that's a big question. I think that needs to be addressed some which way. What do you think, again, lads, in the chat? I mean, how can they get around that? What do you think, Gib? I mean, is that something you would see as an issue?
Well, I think in fairness to Parallel 42, they did get around it in the end. It seemed to be a manual effort, and probably after the reaction that the community gave them, which Parallel 42, I'm sure, put onto Microsoft to do something about it. I mean, it was possible in the end. Whether or not it's a continual manual process, I hope not. That would essentially mean every single upgrade from 2020 to 24 would have a price attached to it, which would be scary.
Absolutely, and it'll be interesting to see kind of how that develops. It's definitely something we'll have to ask them, and you'll see it probably light up on the forums as well.
Yeah.
The next one then was the approved partners or the approved sellers, right? So the statement was anyone who's already approved on 2020 are automatically approved for 2024. There's no reapplication process. They're already there. And I won't say it's a little bit worrying, but it just means there are certain developers who, depending on what you want out of the sim in terms of its add-ons, their products are going to exist in the new marketplace as well. The developers are already in there. And I don't really care. I'll call them out. M Scenery are absolutely horrendous. Is there a market for them? Probably yes, but they need to explain more of what their add-on is, I think. How does a developer like that manage to get their products into the marketplace while we're still waiting on some really talented developers to get into the marketplace as well? It's kind of more of the same. There doesn't appear to be a law to say, well, we need you to perform, or I don't know what it is. Like, how do you get around it? It's that discussion. We'll be here till next Tuesday talking about it. Is it a case of, well, who has the right to say who should or who shouldn't be on the marketplace? There's a market out there for anything, right? There's a customer out there for any product. There just is. What is good for one person is really bad for the next, and vice versa. So it's just interesting because they kind of hovered around the whole quality thing as well, and this looks like it's very much still up to the developer to pass the QC. I'm sure Microsoft will probably say, well, it either works or it doesn't. If it works, well then, it can be on our marketplace. But in terms then of the quality control, and even a list of rules for quality control, I mean, that has to be looked at, because we see it more often than not. An area which I think is such an important part of this simulator is the multiplayer. How does the add-on perform in a multiplayer environment? And that comes down to how it appears with model matching, or the livery, or the animations, or even the sounds. There are so many issues we've seen with add-ons, even from reputable developers. Jays, we never thought about we never thought about multiplayer. And we're like, what? It's a huge element of the sim, and it makes it unique so far as the multiplayer experience you can get in Microsoft Flight Simulator. It doesn't exist on any other sim. Other games have it, sure, but it's very different.
Yeah, like this is at the top of our list that we talked about right when we came on, right? The QA and curation element, which drives a lot of feeling, positive and negative towards it, is top of our list. Due to the fact that it wasn't mentioned, it would lead you to believe it's not being changed in 2024. That's just my takeaway. Otherwise, I think they would have said something, or at least an initial indication that they were looking at this area by now. In lieu of the fact that what we've seen from Laminar just yesterday in the new ORC, where they are introducing a Laminar quality controlled marketplace into the sim, into X-Plane. It'll be interesting to see how they take care of it. The main source of debate, I think, on this particular topic, Murph, which I'd love your particular position on, is where's the standard? So some person's level of standard as to what they would look to buy from a marketplace might be different from someone who just wants study level. So where is that standard as to what you feel might actually warrant getting into the marketplace versus something, no, that's not good enough, send it back?
I think we're still in the same place we've been at, forever, right? I mean, I'm not like, well, I am, but I'm not. You need content creators to be able to showcase products, and you need to find your favorite content creator, or the trust has to be there that you say, okay, look, this person is able to unbiasedly give me the information that I need, and that'll help me in the decision making process. I don't see any changes there. Like, even if Microsoft put their own crew in there and they had their own people and it went through their own lines of quality, I think there's too many variables when it comes down to what's more important on your add-on. Well, the rotating beacon light is turning left instead of right, versus this thing, it doesn't, the sounds have a massive problem in the multiplayer environment, and that could be versus someone else. I can't get it to work on my hardware. Like, where does the quality line drop? And I don't think they're even going to attempt to get into that because it's pure mess. That's kind of where the content creators need to come in, and it's easy for me to say this, but I think there should be an emphasis on giving content creators early access to this as well. So we can try and test the stuff and say, right, look, this is where we think it's at, and it doesn't have to be a scoring model or otherwise. Let the content creators come along and say, well, can it do this? Yeah, here it is. Look, can it do that? No, it can't. It's broken. Now, maybe developers can do that a little bit more, and there's a lot of developers who do that. I mean, they'll give it to beta teams, and if there's content creators there, they can do it that way. But we all see, we hear these things, oh, it's in alpha, now it's in beta, and then it's released, and we're saying, geez, how are there still problems with this thing if you've gone through an alpha and a beta? That's where your content creators, I think, come in, because, well, sure, we can show the stuff off, and you target the content creators, perhaps, you aim it to their strengths. If it's going to be, if it's a bush flying aircraft, for example, well, you have Kando, or you have all the guys involved in the e-stall. I mean, they're the guys who should be checking it out. Just like you'd have Joel there when it came to helicopters, or Epic Fool. Do you know what I mean? Like, that's the idea. You'd be pushing it to the folks who are in the know of how things work. I don't know. There's not enough there for the quality thing, and how they're going to test these things to make sure they're okay. Like, where does one draw the list? What are the requirements? And you're never going to strike it 100%, because, as I said, you're going to have someone who'll ask the question, hey, the door angle of, this doesn't open right, this is a bad add-on, versus, the engine performance at this density altitude isn't by the numbers. Where do you draw the line? You know what I mean?
Yeah, Sean Dale in chat says, always do your own research on products you want. Just because it's multiplayer doesn't mean it's A+, which is fair. So it kind of goes for any purchase, that you make, that, for your disposable income, that, you do your research, you check out reviews, you form your own opinion, but leverage what you're seeing from elsewhere. So it looks like we're going to continue with that, because I didn't see, and there was one screenshot, to be fair. Hopefully we'll have more over the course of the coming months, but there was no indication of a star system or a rating system or anything like that you could leverage within the marketplace thus far, at least. What else, Murph? What else did you spot in that presentation?
There was a huge thing there for the partner program. So this new MCP that these guys are working on, and I'm kind of taken a bit back, right? As I dropped my book, I'm kind of taken back, because to think of it at the moment, right, if they wanted to do an update to a thumbnail, they have to remove the entire project, right, fix the thumbnail, and then re-upload the entire project. And that every time you do that, it has to go through its own authentication. You don't know what sort of corruption could happen. So it's kind of mad to think that they can't just get in there, edit a little bit, and move on. They're now bringing that in, which is very good news for developers, as is giving their own teams options to, log in, user control. They can do certain things. For example, if you're an artist, you can't access the core files of the add-on or whatever you're building, but you can get in and change maybe some of the assets or change the thumbnails, all this sort of jazz. That's really powerful for developers, because if they have to rely on teams, you have the time differences, you have scheduling, and I can just imagine, it's a huge bottleneck. So listening to that, it is definitely welcome, I'd say, from the developer's point of view. From the consumer point of view, this should mean this will accelerate changes and updates that are required. It's going to make the thing go faster. If there is a problem with an aircraft, it could be a simple thing. There's the sound file of the add-on isn't working. It should be able to be fixed straight away, because you're not necessarily depending on doing all of the upload. You only have to upload perhaps a certain asset or a file, right? Yeah. So I think it's very welcome news from developers. There's certainly more questions raised than I think answered. You know what I mean? But yeah, I think that MCP from the developer's perspective, I think that's going to be very, very welcomed.
What's a golden Kappa train? We got it on Twitch anyway, so thank you all, Devil
did,
Dude and
Jesus.
others. Thank you so much.
And I didn't have to take off my shirt. Well, actually, technically, I took off my shirt. Brilliant. What did you do today, Murphy? I took off my shirt on Twitch and YouTube as well, lads. Brilliant.
Oh dear.
Thank you very much.
Oh dear. But the highlight for me, I think, in that was, and back to our questions, which was we hadn't heard about purchases carrying over. So just to confirm, what we heard was that 2020 content will be migrated over to 2024. The process is that they send it over back to the dev. They migrate it. Microsoft migrate it. They send it back to the dev who do functional testing, and it's up to the dev themselves to sign off on it, and then it gets through into the pipeline for release into 2024. Content that's originally there for 2024, such as that, will have a marker saying that it's 2020 with a circle overlay indicating it's that. And as Murph mentioned, that there are upgrade prices if a dev has gone above that version in terms of adding any 2024. We're going to hear that a lot, aren't we? 2020, 2024, 2020, 2024. But yeah, we're 24 specific content for an upgrade price. They'll be able to offer that separately as well. If you haven't purchased that product, you can just go straight for the 2024 version as well. So it seems as though they're ticking all boxes there. And all, as you said, Murph, marketplace partners are auto-approved for 24. So they're going to give the SDK, software development kit, out in September, which gives them, if it's November 19th, so that's about 6 weeks to be able to look at all their releases and approve them. I suppose that's quite an effort. Approve them all if Microsoft is sending them back for release as per the 2020 version. Never mind any upgradability. So it might be, dare I say, a little while after release of 2024 when we start to see it really exploited to its maximum in terms of its new capabilities. That's just what my takeaway. So that's good news. That's good news. And that was one of the questions we had at the start.
It is, and again, to kind of close on that, also the announcement to say that, York said the new SDK will be available to the third-party developers around September, and he's saying that's enough time. So depending on how many add-ons they have, of course, you'd argue that if it's enough time or not. But if they have the SDK at least ready for third-party developers, that's the indication that things are moving pretty much on track time-wise. But yeah, I think, overall, the entire, seminar today, I kind of felt the first part was I don't know, they just get a sense of they were just trying to justify what they've been doing over the last couple of years, as in, these are the stats, we're really good here. And when they did the reviews of who was buying stuff, what are they using data for 2021 for? I mean, the sim was more popular last year than it was the year before. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I don't know. Did it feel like they were kind of just, by the way, we've done all of these things and, we're doing the right thing?
Yeah, kind of. Murph, I got to tell you that Twitch is absolutely exploding at the moment. You're all so good. Thank you so much indeed. We're up to level 5 golden Kappa train, whatever that is. Murph, I'll let you figure that out when you come back. I can't keep up with all the subs. Thank you so much.
Behave yourselves. Behave now, right? Do you know what I mean? It's... Sit in your hands.
Dude is gifting like there's no tomorrow. Kaharia is gifting many tier 1 subs. You're so good indeed.
Jesus, I might get another week out here.
No, you come back. This is all you, my friend. This is all you. Belbro again gifting loads more tier 1 subs. Then Cyrus T jumps in gifting 5 tier 1 subs as well. And Martel then said, I'm having some of that action and gifted 3 tier 1 subs as well. So you're also... And then Paparazzi said, no, what about me? I'm here too. 5 tier 1 subs from Paparazzi as well. You're absolute legends. So thank you all so very much. You're so kind for your support. Murph, just on the first part, that lady Julie, there was lots of stats and figures, and it clearly wasn't orientated towards us and what we'd be interested in. However, what really was obvious in that was Xbox and was the non-PC market. You can clearly see through the user base and the spend, which is eclipsing in some parts, Windows, that you can clearly see why they are so interested in the Xbox market, why they're so orientated towards the more casual gamers, as I said before. That's definitely their motivation in terms of tapping into that a lot more, and those figures kind of back up that motivation.
Yeah,
It is, right? And again, it's almost like a justification. Hey, we're doing really, really well on Xbox. This is absolutely the right decision, and we want to be able to do more from this. I think if they were to look at maybe stats, maybe a little bit closer to our current date of where things are, I would definitely say there'd be a way more increase, a larger increase to people buying their products outside of the marketplace environment. Because look, the elephant in the room, right? It takes so long for developers to get their updates pushed out onto the marketplace and then back into us. Sometimes it works fast, but it seems to be kind of luck of the draw, right? However, they mentioned some of the peaks and troughs where they had, a lot of activity came through. So they mentioned, we saw massive peaks when we got WASM up there. We got massive peaks when we got, Xbox onto the marketplace, when they did the charity gig. I'm trying to think what the aircraft was in 2023. I know the Antonov was a huge thing, the AN225. What was the other one they did? They did something else. They were donating money directly to the cause of another aircraft. And we've seen it even most recently now for the USO when it came to the C-47. That's going to see a massive spike, if you like, in sales, especially if the timing was done all around D-Day. You know what I mean? And it's interesting because Microsoft can flex when they need to say, okay, look, we're going to run sales now. And and we've seen these very, very recently. We're like, holy crap, you can get that add-on for like $10. Remember Muse fan saying it in the chat, he picked up I think it was the 500 ear for just £7 or something. What? That's an amazing add-on for that price. You kind of kick yourself when you're saying, I've already bought so many things. Can my purchases kind of go towards something? How do you reward people for investing, if you like, on the marketplace? There's nothing. I didn't see anything there. I think that would be really good and a great incentive for, you know what I mean? If you buy, let's say, you spend $100 in a year. Well, that should go towards maybe something to reward your loyalty for buying on the marketplace. Because if they want more people to buy on the marketplace, well, sure, incentivize us. Give us a reason why we want to spend our money on the marketplace. And I think by doing that, if they offer discounts to say, okay, look, you've bought all these add-ons and you've now qualified. This happens on Contrail. I mean, it happens on Orbex. You get orbs. That Microsoft aren't doing it, and they're saying, they sold 1 million products. What? Why aren't you doing this, lads? This is simple. I can think this one up. Do you know what I mean? So I think there should be good incentives there if they want to see a massive increase on the marketplace. For me, there's got to be some sort of a loyalty program, a rewards program, and also then the ability to buy an add-on and gift it to someone else. That's how they haven't done this yet. And would it double their figures? Probably not, but it would definitely make a massive increase.
Yeah, I totally agree. Murph, I got to tell you, the chat is still kicking off here. It is going.
Jesus.
It is going absolutely nuts. We're up to a level 9 golden kappa train. You're all absolutely incredible. I
technically now, right? So I've already mentioned I took off my shirt. I'm technically not. Well, I'm not showing you. I'm not wearing pants. The shorts I'm wearing. So technically, do you know what I mean? It's they're not coming off though. But
we have to thank Rambog.
Thank you all.
Gifted 5 tier 1 subs. Rambog, you're absolutely legend. Toto came in again. 5 tier 1 subs. Toto, thank you so much. Monster, you're very welcome in. Great to see you. Gassie's Maximus then said, I want some 5 tier 1 subs to be gifted too. And gifted them as well. You're so good. Colonel Fork gifted a tier 1 subs to Stavros. Thank you so much, Colonel Fork. Then Rogue Wolf Gaming came in with 5 tier 1 subs. He said, I like this action. I want some of it. Noel said, me too. I'm here. 5 tier 1 subs from Noel. You're so good. And then I saw that there was some bits thrown in. DeBlaze again gifted 20 tier 1 subs to your community. Unbelievable. DeBlaze.
No backsies now. And I'm actually wearing Crocs as well. I can't, right, this is the combination, Gibbo. For this to work, I have to take off my shirt, wear Crocs, and be in Las Vegas. This is fantastic news.
Did they let you in? Did they let you in with the Crocs? They did. Okay.
Genuinely, Evan told me I was not allowed to wear my Crocs.
Oh, behave.
Raging.
I've trained him well.
Raging.
Yeah, good stuff. But we're up to level 10 now. Thank you so much. That's incredible support. We deeply appreciate it. Lee Dixon.
Thank you all much.
Cheering.
Thank you all much. Thank you all very
bits
much.
from Lee Dixon. Wow.
Jesus.
So kind. Thank you so much indeed. It is incredible support. Right, Murph, are we good on the marketplace? Are you happy there, or would you like to comment on anything else?
I think we're good. It's the information we got, as I said, it's super helpful for developers. I thought it was it's not interesting. It's kind of obvious, right? I mean, the marketplace is dominated by North America and Europe. We know this. and then you have pockets otherwise in other areas. What is interesting though, like if you're a developer and you're thinking, okay, look, there's just like 3 or 4% in Oceania, be it Australia or New Zealand. That's got to be okay. Well, let's try and target that area to bump up the sales, see what we can do, and even when it comes to the airports, where people are buying the airports, we've all seen it that the most popular airports, well, it's the airliners, right? I mean, that's the airliner stuff would dominate the marketplace when it comes to the airports and perhaps even the airliners themselves. Kind of a segue away from kind of where we're at now versus where we hope to be at in a couple of months' time. Are we going to see this sort of shift, Gibbo? Are we moving away, or not maybe moving away, but are we moving forward more when it comes to the slower moving aircraft at lower altitudes? Because everything we've seen so far is pointing at better rendition, better detail. They're talking about orbs and like they're using AI. So if you're in Australia, like they've mentioned literally hundreds of different species of plants and all this sort of jazz, and you're not necessarily going to appreciate that at 35 or 36,000 feet. This is going to be for folks flying in general aviation or the helicopters or the gliders. And this kind of goes back in the discussion yesterday, and it'll be interesting to see now how, if you're buying orbs for an area or a region, and that's going to be marketplace based as well. There's potential here now for creators to come along and say, well, do you know what? I'm going to make the Leitrim orb. Do you know what I mean? As in, you can create your own, go out and take photographs in your local forest, and because the tech is there. I mean, you can get kind of 3D renditions. That's kind of exciting to see the types of add-ons, where they could go and what we might be able to expect. New add-ons, like in categories we don't know. Like we mentioned the customized stuff as well. I mean, it's limitless what you can actually get into these sort of things. As I said, like it could be a pair of glasses for your pilot, or like we just don't know.
Yeah, and I mean they have it on tap as well, don't they, with Microsoft Points? I think if they could tie in with that a bit more, give you more of an incentive to purchase there, through some kickbacks. You can save up your points to be able to fund new purchases. Again, I don't think you can translate Microsoft Point purchases towards same content at the moment. So you'd imagine that they'd be able to fix all that, as you say. Murph, it's still kicking off. Echo Tango, 5 tier 1 subs. We're up to a level 11 golden Kappa train. It's just never ending. You guys are so thoughtful and kind, and we deeply appreciate it. There's a comment there about if you get a chance, can you ask if they've simulated the wipers and rain clearing on the window? It's a major immersion breaker in 2020. That's from Supra Boy. So that would be one to ask Murph. So Murph, I think we'll move away from Marketplace, and Hemmingbird has cheered 100 bits. You're very kind, Hemmingbird. Thank you so much indeed. As well as Roger. Sorry if I've missed you, by the way. It's not intentional. I just don't know what I'm doing. So I appreciate it indeed. Murph, let's come back to rewind a bit last night. So after we last spoke with you, you'd finished up with the and by the way, there's a question just before. Did they announce the 2025 location? I presume you're talking about the FSExpo 2025 location. Not yet, but they are due to in the next hour or so. So we'll keep you posted as news comes through on that. We're thinking East Coast, but we'll wait and see if we're right. 1,000 bits. OMG. Real Roughneck. Thank you so much indeed. That is incredible support. It just keeps coming. We're up to, a level 11 hype train with the phone. Thank you so much indeed. Jesus. Super kind. Murph, so we left you yesterday and you were heading up for a shower and to get changed and head out again. And I know that you caught up with Jorg and Seb. I know that you caught up with many a developer as well as a roulette machine. So can you catch us up? How was your evening last night? What can you fill us in as to what you might have learned from your expeditions?
If you can, I'm going to throw science at you. Do you know that clip I sent you? Can you appear that on the screen? If you can't, don't worry. We can post it in Discord.
I sure can. Right.
So if we start with this, if you can throw that up, this is my view from yesterday evening, folks. And there's audio playing there. If you just mute the audio, because I think I say something I shouldn't, like Jesus or worse to that effect. Muted. But brilliant. So we're invited up to a Microsoft meeting last night. It was just a couple of folks invited up just to spend a bit of time. There was just a reception. It was all fun. It was a nice social event, but incredible for networking, right? I mean, you had all types. You had developers, you had content creators, and you also had the corporate side there as well. So that was the view from on top of the Rio last night. Absolutely incredible. It was about 1,000 degrees. It was the closest, in fact, to the Murph Cave temperature. So I was very comfortable. But it was done really, really well, and just a shout out and a very special thanks to Microsoft, because that's going the extra mile. When I spoke to CD yesterday, I had a great chat with CD. It was like, I was just saying, look, they were so busy flat out all day setting things up, the whole team. Everyone, Jorg included, they were all putting the tables together, getting the rigs put in there, all the chairs, the lighting, all day. Like they don't go off and have their lunch. Like, they got pizza or whatever delivered down to them as they continue to work. And that was just for the expo, and then you had all this other stuff. Jane was behind all of that in the Rio, setting up the room. It was just incredible. And when I was chatting to CD, he's like, well, he says the way we look at these things, if we're going, we're going. We don't do like, a small little tent in a stall under an umbrella to say hello. He goes, we want to be there because it is a wonderful chance to get to meet not only the community managers, but all the you've moderators there as well. You get to meet the team, and it's super great. I mean, like, we're fans of the product. There's not, like, we're not the fanboys, but we're fans of the product because we all know Microsoft Flight Simulator has given us so much. Our hobby, we've made communities, we've made friends, there's all of that. It's just nice to kind of get in front of them and say, Jay's is brilliant, thanks very much. But on the business side of the thing, so when we left you yesterday, I was saying, listen, if you have any questions you want us to ask, drop them into our Discord, and fair play to you, you put a lot of them in there, right? So I had this list with me going up to the 51st floor in this place. I got, just as well I don't get, it was very high up. I was grand though, the knees were weak, but I had a chance to read over them, and it gave me a good chance to get around everyone and ask the questions just to see where they're at. And naturally, there's going to be a lot of stuff they just can't say. They're just not going to say because, well, they're not allowed to say it yet. And an NDA thing, I saw a comment in chat earlier on, like the amount of NDA stuff I'd say that was even done like last night or even yesterday and even today, it's got to be huge, right? Because you can't let the cat out of the bag. I mean, there's a commercial impact and you have all this sort of stuff. So, yeah, meeting up with the team last night and just chatting with different developers. Where are they at? What are they doing? How are they making their add-ons? What's coming down the line? And of course, the burning questions that I had in relation to multiplayer. We haven't got an official statement yet from Microsoft Flight Sim with regards, is there any updates or upgrades or changes coming into the multiplayer environment? Are there enhancements or are there new protocols? We don't know. They haven't given us anything to say one way or the other. So I asked Jorg last night, had a conversation to say, well, where are we at? Where are we at? And first thing I will say, very, very, very just a sound guy, as in he'd listened, right? Didn't do what you wanted him to do, Gibbo. Who are you? What do you want with us? You shouldn't be here. Look at the head on you, right? He wasn't like that at all. He was like, I'm your biggest fan, Murph. Right? No, he wasn't like that either. But he gave me the time of day, and I was able to talk to him and say, listen, look, this is what's affecting the multiplayer scene. And they're aware of some things, right? There's things that they can do, and there's things that they're going to start looking at, which is great news for us. There's stuff that they genuinely can't do because it might be too restrictive. But the good news is, and like again, it goes back to how approachable folks are. Like you can have the conversation, and you can now pass forward the information, and they're going to look at it. And everything that I mentioned, what I said with the issues that you guys raised, plus the few things that I can see every week when we do our group flights, there was nothing there that, nothing got a no. It was, oh yeah, we could look at that. That shouldn't be, yeah, we can do that. That shouldn't take too long. So it was quite positive, the interaction. And again, with some of the features, like what's the pricing going to be? Like, they're not going to tell you, oh, we're going to do it exactly this way, but don't tell anyone. Like, they won't give you that information. But there was nothing said that was like, oh, this is going to be a disaster, or there was nothing like that. I walked out of there feeling very positive, knowing, and like I said it earlier on, they know, like they're not idiots. They know what's going on. They see and hear the feedback. To be told that, yeah, we know your stream, we know your community. Like, when you're told that, you know that they're actually paying attention to what's going on. They see the things we see, so they're not oblivious to it. It's just how they manage to get, okay, here's the issue here. How do we get that up the pecking order in order to be kind of fixed? And for me, then there's got to be some sort of a red line as well. So, okay, this community really want this, but if we put that in place, it's going to break that, and there's more people who want that. That's just kind of the nature of the beast. But certainly, with the information that I can send on to Jorg, and let's see what they can do. I'd be very, very hopeful they can do a lot.
Very cool, very cool. Again, Merv, it's still coming through. We got Barf and Gopher and Sean Dale with 100 bits each. We're up to 74 subs
Jeez.
and over 5,000 bits. Incredible support. Thank you all. Very interesting, Merv. So you got in front of them again and you were able to pick their brains on a couple of things. Very interesting. And did I hear that you might have secured an email address or two? Is that true as well?
Right now, it'll be hilarious when I send the email. Unable to find that email address, right? It'll ping back to me, right? And I actually said, I said it last. You're going to kill me. I said, no, it's grand. You'll know when I email you. I'm going to send you a picture of Gibbo in the nip, right? It should please open with care, you know. But right, but yeah, no, there is an email there, and it's the fact. Look, it's the fact that it wasn't the case. I wasn't like yeah. We'll talk to you later. Get out of my face. It was a genuine.
Yeah.
Send it through. Let's look at it. This doesn't sound like it's going to be rocket science. We can look at it, and it makes sense. And like simple things like, hey, can we get like passwords like to protect personal servers? That's a good idea. Yeah, should we see that on other stuff? Can we have the ability to boot someone off if they're acting the Muppet? Yeah, that's a good idea. Why can't we do that? So very, very positive. So yeah, we'll wait and see kind of what comes from that. And it wasn't just that. I mean, look, as I said, there was a lot of questions raised here yesterday by you guys on Discord. So one question in particular, we'll go through a few of these. So Mr. Dan was asking, look, will there be more weather presets? Short answer is yes. I mean, there's going to be. Whether or not that comes from Microsoft or Asobo, or does it come from the third parties? Who knows? But there is going to be more. Of course there is. What was the other one then? About the system specs. This is a huge burning question, right? People want to know, listen, do we need supercomputers to be able to get the most out of this sim? Microsoft haven't given any information whatsoever, nor have they given any indication whatsoever. Nothing on an official stance has said anything in relation to the specs that they want and how they're going to be able to get this thing over the line. From what I'm aware of, and this is just me reading between the lines, they're testing this platform on current hardware. They're not using 5090s. They're not using i30. Like they're not using tech that's not already readily available. And to give you an insight, going back to the alpha of Flight Sim 2020, the first people called or invited to alpha test the sim, they started at the highest entry level. Who has the best in PC specs? And at the time, that was the 2080 Ti. That was the highest you can get in the market, and I think it was like an i9 4900 or something. I think 40 or 4790. It was something like that, right? They were the first people invited in. The second group of people invited in were the mid-range, the i5s and the NVIDIA 970s, all the sort of, or 1080s, right? And then they were invited in. And then the last group of folks to be invited into the alpha were of the lowest minimum specs, as in these guys were coming in with like an i3, maybe like a 970 graphics card, the very low kind of basic PC, right? And the sim was tested to see how can it work for them, and that's what they ran with, right? They ran to say, okay, anything less than this is just not going to work. Anything more than this, well, you can go to high settings. Anything more than that, yeah, full tilt. Now, I have a 4090, Gibbo, you have a 4090. Our rigs are almost identical in terms of what they can do. They are, at the moment in the consumer market, one of the best you can get in terms of the power and what's there. We still can't max out that simulator. I mean, we still have performance degradation. So there's a limit to what your hardware is ever going to do. And you got to bear in mind, they're testing this environment on existing hardware when it comes to the consoles. You got your Xbox X and your Xbox S. And the discussion I was having with a couple of developers, how are things on Xbox S versus the X? And I would have thought, yeah, we've a lot more issues with the Series S because it's just not capable of doing what we need to do. It doesn't have that headroom. It's kind of like the whole DX11, DX12 thing. It doesn't necessarily make things faster. It just allows you to put more into that area. And the response I got was kind of interesting. It was like, well, yeah, the S has its issues, but we also have a lot of problems on the X. Like, what, really? And anyone who's looking back at the development cycle over the last number of weeks, the game development kit, or the GDK update that Asobo and Microsoft were trying to push through into Sim Update 15 was the core reason the whole thing got delayed. And as we stand today, the GDK is not present on Xbox. And they rolled it back to where Xbox were at prior to the betas of Sim Update 15 coming out there. The good news is they figured it out. They know how to make it work, and we're expecting to see the GDK follow with. It might be called Sim Update 16, or it'll just be called the GDK update. It means nothing for us. We're not going to see, game-changing graphic computations and performance. It's readying the systems for the next sim, right? I mean, that's the whole idea. And I was even saying this, like, I'm in Egypt anyway, but like, I was like, oh yeah, do you need to program triangle, square, and, you know, circle into your next controller profiles? Because like the last time I saw a GDK going into a Microsoft game, it ended up on PlayStation. Now that's just a rumor that I wanted to start, but wouldn't that be mad if they actually PlayStation came onto the scene? Could you imagine the crack you'd have? But again, that's only me speculating. What do you think, Gibbo? I mean, if you were Microsoft looking after this, and you know Microsoft's history as of today, buying up studios or bringing partners on board, and even their statements most recently, they want their infrastructure on everyone's platform, and they want everyone's platform on their infrastructure. That's what they want. What would you think of that? Would they be interested in a PlayStation move over?
On the PlayStation piece, I'm not confident that they would. I think the only thing that they're doing PlayStation wise relates to Call of Duty. They've made a commitment there to PlayStation users because of what they're doing in the Call of Duty space. But for other titles, I'm not so sure that they'd want to. I mean, it would make no financial sense whatsoever. So I've heard nothing about that except from you, Murph. Good idea to start a rumor and see if it,
right,
plant that seed and see what happens. I think that there was a lot of, it's great that you bring up rigs, because I did see a lot of people in the presentation yesterday from Microsoft saying, oh, I better start saving. I'm going to need a new rig. Mine's not going to cut it. And I think one of the key staples as to what they are intending to bring with 2024 is a performance improvements, is optimizations, is a smaller footprint, is all of these things. So I mean, Murph, tell me if you disagree with this, but my honest advice for folks is sure, save, absolutely, but wait and see what happens come November, come getting your hands on it, see if they've actually delivered on those things, see how it holds up on your current system. If not, then you've got the money, you've saved it, great, and you can put it towards peripherals if you don't need to use it, but that was one of the key things that they said last year at the expo when we were there in person. I think it was bullet point number 1 as to what they were intending to bring with 2024. One question from chat was, will we need super fast internet? And I saw Colonel Fork out in Discord going a step further than that, saying, will we need unlimited internet? Because a lot of folks, of course, still have capped internet. So I think that arguably could be where you might need to, invest your hard-earned on a bit more. Because a lot's been streamed, and they mentioned Azure a lot yesterday as well. So that would be something to perhaps consider, right, Murph?
Yeah, and it's a great question, right? So from my own experience, when I was on slower internet 2 years ago, before I got the faster stuff, I would get CTDs, right? I would have problems with loading, the sim would take forever, I'd all these issues. And like one of the biggest upgrades I got was faster internet, because the sim loads faster, there's no issues on the world map, textures load in, there's no delay with Bing imagery. Internet is a huge requirement. In saying that, Asoba are very aware of this, and like chatting with Seb, he kind of echoed what he said the last time round. When you have a wired connection, there's a physical speed in which you can only transmit that data, and that's what he means is that's your hard drive connected to your motherboard, correct? Like that's where everything's working on your PC, and the movement of that data through these mechanical drives, well, it's limited. Now, depending on how much you're going to pay for it, you'll get a faster speed, sure, but it's limited. The fastest way to converge or convey data is through the internet. It's pushing it down the line, because you have up to a gig or 2 gigs and all this sort of stuff, and that's the speed at which data transfer can happen. One big thing about Flight Sim 2024 and all the rendering, and they were talking about simple things like these orbs, AI will get involved, it knows what region you're in, it'll start painting the trees and doing all this sort of jazz. And we also know about tessellation, whereby it's not just a 2D image of the ground and they put a bit of mesh underneath it. Think of the old kind of papier-mâché model you used to make. You'd build a wireframe and then you'd place, the paint or newspaper on top of it. They're getting away from that. They're using this 3D, everything's 3D. So yeah, it's technically, it's flat, but there's depth, right? They've added the third dimension to it. When it comes to rendering this and the brain power behind this to actually compute it, that's being done over by Azure. That's doing all the heavy lifting. And that's the idea. They're trying to strip as much as they possibly can away from your PC doing the heavy lifting or console, and it's going to be done away on their Azure platform. The importance then, the question then is, okay, well, if they're going to do the heavy lifting, I just need to make sure I can get the data quick enough. Hence, it comes back down to your bandwidth. Are you on a metered connection? What's going to happen there? chatting to Seb, they have the same issue currently in 2020. You have the option of caching, as in, you download an area over a day or two, depending on your internet speeds, and the data is stored locally on your PC. And your PC is just, it'll run that more effectively and efficiently because it's not talking to the servers to get it down and then back in again. So it's cutting out an entire process. When it comes then to folks on, really dated hardware, well, the good news for them is, well, it'll be rendered away from your PC. But if you're on a dated bit of equipment and low internet, you're going to be in trouble, I think. But that's always been the same for any new iteration, be it a game, a simulator, whatever. The specs, they'll always try and bring them up. Yes, you could use minimal settings and that'll make the thing work. But like, imagine your sim now and like put it back to Flight Sim X. Right, I mean, you turn off your Bing data and you're just flying over these textures. It's Flight Sim X, right? I mean, it's the ESP doing its work. That's what you could come to expect. Internet is a huge question. Can we get more internet in? Speed, yes, of course. I think that's where the world is moving anyway. I mean, everything is live streamed. Says your man with a face in Las Vegas, I'm streaming to you wirelessly, right? That's where it's going to. Yeah. And the good news is things are getting faster. I mean, okay, you mightn't have fiber wire available at your address. They never said you need fiber wire to work this. And we see it on the specs, it requires a internet connection. I think it even states a minimum speed internet connection. That could be the new thing that we'll see. But I'm very confident at the moment in terms of what hardware we need right now. And I would echo what you're saying, Gibbo. Wait, don't buy anything yet. Let's just see what happens when the thing starts coming out there. And if you do save and you have a few bob at that, this is your investment, I'd be more than likely, I'm very confident, in fact, that money that you've invested will be better spent on a new ISP or your man's satellites. That'll be a better spend, if you like, in getting the most out of the new sim. Yeah. Getting faster internet.
I mean, just thinking out loud, it's going to be very interesting technically how they figure this out, genuinely, because if you think about it, let's say you bought a scenery, let's say you bought your favorite airport, that's in your community folders will still exist. They've confirmed that. So that sits in your hard drive. So how can the cloud and all the compute power and all the power of the Microsoft data centers help the performance of that item that sits on your local hard drive? It's going to be very interesting to see how they figure that out and how it blends together the two worlds of local and the cloud as well. Just to catch up on chat for a second, so Major says Microsoft will be bringing a lot more games to PlayStation and Nintendo to justify their recent acquisitions. MSFS as a live service platform makes sense to be up for consideration. Yes, perhaps. I mean, that's Murph's rumor, but there's no indications yet that they have said that that's what they're doing. But yes, perhaps. I mean, there's advantages. Colonel Fork says, give users an option to either install more locally or have it streamed. Give users the choice for their situation. Yeah, absolutely. Again, they've not indicated that thus far.
I think that's what they're doing.
Oh, really?
Well,
what makes you think that?
Well, again, it comes down to the pre-caching, right? I mean, if you don't have the internet speed to render things in real time, and we have this, you have the option even now, pre-cache, and that if you turn, like, for instance, right, if you turn on pre-caching and you're on a slow internet, right, and when you even pan around the aircraft, you'll get a frame rate drop and you'll get, stutters. Why? Because it's trying to download that information or, appear it in your viewpoint. If you're on slower internet, well, just download it, pre-cache it, as in you select all your tiles and you can actually download the area. The good news there is the sim, when it's running, it already has the files there. It's not looking for them, right? It's not trying to connect and get more information to come down the road. And the same is going to be said for 2024, right? At the moment in 2020, when you have a custom airport, Microsoft Flight Sim loads they load the planet, right? They load the area in which you're going to be in, and whatever LOD they have it set to. I don't know where the visual stops. I mean, you can go pretty high in that drone cam before the world kind of disappears or just doesn't render anymore. But at the moment, they render that entire area, including the default area. So if you have a custom airport, well, the default is already loaded, its assets are already loaded. Then it's overridden by your custom scenery that sits on top of that. Now, we don't really see any huge issues. We'll tell Microsoft, hey, turn off that default airport or turn off that place. We don't want it. If it's another marketplace add-on, well, you remove it. The data is still there, and I think that has some sort of computational impact, because it says, okay, I've got to draw this, now that, okay, here's something new, right, I've got to remove all of this. It's a computer, it's got to think about this stuff. Now, it'll do it fast at night, but of course it will. But I think that's more of stream the data. Only give you locally what you need in the now, and then the other stuff that you don't need, well, we'll keep that until you need it. And that could be, I don't know how they're going to do it, but if you look at X-Plane, and I'll always draw a comparison to X-Plane only because I'm familiar with it, right? If you're on X-Plane, you have the gateway, the Scenery Gateway download tool, right? So you install X-Plane and they'll say, hey, where do you want to fly? I want to fly in Europe. Okay, to download or to fly in Europe, you got to download 30 gigs of data, right? Okay, so you've now downloaded Europe and you're flying around and it's wonderful. All of a sudden you're saying, do you know what? I want to fly in North America, but you don't download anything. You load up in a New York or a North American airport and you're in the middle of the ocean. Why? Because you don't have the files locally. So, okay, I forgot. Turn off X-Plane, go back into the installer. Hey, I want North America. Okay, to download North America, I need 80 gigs. Download the 80 gigs, and now you have North America and Europe, and now you're up to 150 gigs or whatever, right? I'm not good at maths, right? But then, you look at maybe, I want to fly in Australia. So what X-Plane needs you to do is download the regions first, and then you can go flying in them. Microsoft is giving you those regions already. It's already loaded. So when you say, hey, I want to fly in this part, it's already in the system. My hope is they're going to they are copying what X-Plane do. Okay, you want to fly in Australia? Great. Let's get rid of everything then for North America and Europe and Asia. You don't need it because you're only flying here. Oh, wait, you want to fly in North America? Okay, no problem. Let's start sending you the data of where you're needed. And that's where I think it's going to make the thing way lighter, way lighter as an application, because you're only going to need the files that you need in the now, as opposed to where you were 2 weeks ago.
Yeah. Okay. So I do want to ask you, moving away from Jorg and Seb, about who else you met and other developers and so forth, but just sticking with Microsoft for one last question, because it was a common thing that came up in the presentation yesterday as far as reaction that we saw. So I'd love to put you on the spot and get your 2 cents. So everybody knows that the third-party developer community really helps advance our passion, our hobby here, right, in terms of what they're doing, and they're the ones that oftentimes set the standards for what others might need to follow, including Asobo for that matter. How do you feel about what Microsoft are doing, the trend that we're seeing really evident yesterday as far as them sucking up these developers, some of them freeware, some of them small, some of them large, and it can be from mini builds in terms of aircraft right to Wheel of VF4, it can be flight control replay, the list kind of goes on and bringing them in. I mean, the other side of that same coin is, well, it makes total sense for them to actually utilize the expertise that is demonstrated to work and exists. Why replicate it or compete with it when it's there and can just sit into the base sim? Isn't it one less thing for you to download? So what's your take on that, Murph? On one side, it's drawing up some competition that's raising the overall standard of the sim, but on the other hand, it's taking advantage of it as well. So what's your take?
It's very interesting, right? And yesterday it was announced that GotFriends are now an official partner, and they're going to be developing on behalf of Microsoft Flight Sim. And now that's a wonderful success story. They're a very small team, and all of a sudden, you've made it, lads. You've landed a massive contract. That's great for your business, and it's a true success story, right? It really is. I mean, these are guys who are just passionate making add-ons. And the very same has to be said for any builds. They're in the same boat, right? I mean, that started off with one guy, and then they've like 70 people. It's huge, right? So it's exciting and it's wonderful from that regard. The worry is, however, are you now putting the indie developers at risk, right? Because are they all trying to now, here's the prize. If we're a partner, we get the prize. Therefore, well, let's only target what we do to get the prize. And that stops some of these amazing add-ons that we see by developers, truly they're independent developers. They just want to share their passion. They just want to get what they do out there because they're so passionate about it. I think there has to be risk associated to that, right? I mean, are developers going to lose, are they going to lose sight of what their goals were? Because okay, well, listen, you can do this for us, and we'll pay you potentially more money, or but don't do it. We don't want these features. Like, that's a really kind of difficult decision to make if you're one of these developers. I I don't know what the deals are. I don't know, is it exclusivity? You're only now allowed to make stuff for us. That probably ranges from developer to developer. And I also thought it was interesting as well, right? So we're talking about, Microsoft and Asobo stating that we need these third-party developers because let's face it, they know how to make the stuff better. They make the add-ons better. Hashtag me door won't open in me Cessna. They just make, now they look lovely, but like that's where we're up against. Yeah, at the same time, and it's exciting news, but at the same time, Asobo are behind a 737-800 MAX. What? It's a total contradiction. Like, Asobo, you make the sim. You've just said we're going to bring all these third parties on board and we're going to get you to make all your planes because, we want to focus elsewhere. Oh, by the way, can we get someone to make one of the most complex aircraft in the world? Sure we can. Asobo, yeah, you're up. So, you know what I mean? Like, I was kind of lost. Like, what are they doing? How good is it going to be as a study level? Is it? And it's just them building it. It's an Asobo project.
Yeah, absolutely. And there's so many different facets to this, because you can see some. It was Flight Control Replay wearing the official Microsoft T-shirt. I mean, they've been assimilated, right? So, how much more will
Resistance
we see
is
from them?
futile.
However, again, at the same time, I can only imagine, and this is me pure speculating, that if I'm a developer and particularly a small indie shop, and Microsoft come and knocking and say, "Hey, we need you to do a A400." Here's a balloon payment to help you out, to get you going. You're going to say, yes, please, thank you very much, versus the uncertainty as to what you'll get through sales at the end of when it releases, so it helps fund its creation as well. And that, again, has been a trend that we've seen with a couple of releases recently as well, where, they're seeking, support to keep continued development going. So, there's advantages as well, I guess, if that's the case, and that's me speculating. Murph, let's move on. So elsewhere, as I say, we're familiar with the main product announcements. We got that on day one. Was there anything else that you saw or have heard from other developers that really floated your boat? I mean, we saw a couple of announcements, of course. Doesn't need to be said any more about the 777, but we also saw other releases from others as well. So do you want to comment on anything in that regard?
Yeah, so a quick fire around the room, and I think FS Elite did a great job, and it just a great shout out to Callum and all the guys at FS Elite, because they're here in force, right? But they have a stage in the main exhibit hall, and that gave a chance then to have these kind of I wouldn't call them lower tier announcements, because some of them are big. I mean, TFDI Design, for example, they've finally given us a release date for their upcoming MD-11, which is July the 2nd, I think, or July the 4th. So they've made that public to say, yeah, you're going to get our aircraft at this stage. Other developers, like, there was a ton of stuff I can tell you, but I can't tell you. There was an awful lot of that going on. There's NDAs going all over the shop, which you can imagine. There's what I thought was very interesting was the 727 question, right? So we know that Flight Sim Studios, these are the guys who brought us the Embraer, kind of their airliner side of the fence. These guys also brought us the Sea Ray. And it was interesting chatting to FSS as well, because they actually created this, they have a mission model, or a mission thing add-on, right? It's in the tablet, and they have their own missions, and you can do multiplayer stuff within the missions. It was pretty cool. They didn't get what they wanted out of it. Now these guys turned around and said, okay, yeah, we're working on a 727, and it's going to do this, and it's going to do that, and we've been privately working on this for the last 2 years, and yada yada yada, which is great. Again, as a developer who's pushing out something else that before the other thing is actually finished, which is kind of okay. And then you have someone like FS Reborn and SWS. We know they're working on a 727, and they were like, well, oh, yeah, we are working on it, but it's going to do all this, and oh wait, there's more. Oh wait, there's more, and they have to do that now to respond to someone else announcing a product. Some of the scenery guys, MK Studios were there. They've a very exciting roadmap. Nothing has changed for 2024. They released that trailer back in December, I think, but they were certainly showing off some previews of what they were doing. Fly-by-wire, fly-inside. A lot of these other developers, it's more of the same. Like, some of the biggest news that we were getting in terms of the releases, it was pretty much on the Friday. When it comes to the other developers and some of the hardware guys as well, they're like, yeah, no, we're working on this. We'll tell you more when it's ready. For me, I thought it was a lot of it was like, yes, there's so much more coming. We're working on multiple projects. We've teams of people working on this stuff, but we're not in a position to tell you just yet. That's kind of that was the vibe I got from walking the floor, especially yesterday. And to be fair, like, with the guys jumping up on the stage, Navigraph were there. They had an announcement to make, which we saw on the main stage in relation to getting VATSIM traffic on there. They've got a whole load of more features coming along down the road. I mean, I thought that was interesting yesterday when it comes to Work and Title. I mean, Work and Title are absolutely, they're kicking ass, man. They're doing great things. They're a great team. They're very, very productive. They're very kind of innovative, looking at what they can and what they can't do, and they're making great progress. Their chart solution is that's a competitor to Navigraph. There's no question about it. But then you could say, well, what Navigraph are now bringing in, having VATSIM integration on their moving maps, you can see traffic. Well, that kind of puts a nail in the coffin for Orbex's Volanta, for instance, right? I mean, Volanta still you can do other things, sure, and it's free, right? But in terms of, well, why do you need a Volanta now if you can get all this on Navigraph? Which makes it interesting. I was saying this to you yesterday, I think, when I was sitting in me jocks over there, I was saying about it's at the stage now, right? 2 years ago in the sim, it was all, hey, come on over, it's very, very friendly. What are you working on? Oh, that's great, I'll work on that as well. And even when we were here in person last year at Expo, it was kind of the same vibe, There was a little bit of well, don't tell him too much, but yeah, we're doing this. This year, I'm feeling that developers are way more, they're keeping their cards way more closer to the chest because it's becoming super competitive, and we're seeing this by the add-ons being released. I mean, we're seeing the 777 is getting streamed left, right, and center, but look at the features, right? I mean, this is we've seen nothing like this from PMDG. And all of a sudden, yep, we're doing it. The same with Just Flight. I mean, with the Avro or the detailing going into this thing, it's frightening. It's how did you actually manage to get all this work in there? Do you know what I mean? So, getting around, chatting to people, it's gas. I've said it before, I'll say it again. We're slap bam middle in the flight simulation golden age. I mean, there's so much stuff. It's gathering so much kind of movement and pace. We are absolutely in the golden age of everything that's happening in flight simulation, be it with the sim platforms themselves, in which 2 new platforms were announced yesterday or on Friday, and what Microsoft are doing, and even catching up with Philip over at X-Plane, what Laminar Research have done with their weather. The whole thing is holy crap, look where this thing is going. Then you park it and you say, well, look at all these motion rigs that you can now get, force feedback, haptech, all of this stuff. And then you're saying, Jesus, look at the VR. Look what TwoToneMurphy are doing. They're trying to make their product better, and so on and so on. And then Honeycomb getting in front of them, that was a mad kind of a thing, because I kind of felt bad. I was like, that's all right. I just wanted to give them a hug and say, come on, we'll go for a pint and I'll sing you a song. We'll have a session. Because at the end of the day, right, they are, or at least Nicky, he came from, what are they called? SciTech, right? That was his gig. And he wanted to innovate by saying, I want to make better products that are, they're cool, cheaper, and make them, that's all he wanted to do. And that's what he has done. And he has, I'm privy to information that it's not public yet, but Jesus, the stuff, it's right, mad stuff. It's just, it'll be an announcement they want to announce it. I'm not going to be that guy.
They did make a post publicly about lawyers and all that being involved, but it's hopefully going to be sorted out soon. So yeah, it was a heartfelt post. Charlie Rudder Pedals still due to go out, yada yada. Yeah, I hope it works out for them. I mean, there's a lot of goodwill, and actually I think they even commented on that in their post, that there's a lot of goodwill that's gone their way. So we hope they survive, but there's a lot of fierce competition now, of course, in this space.
There is, and that brings us back to FlightSim.com. It's affordable, or it's competitive. It's looking at his hardware yesterday, getting in front of it, and very interesting concept, interchangeable kind of yokes and handles. Okay, you're there with a Boeing style yoke, or okay, well, here's one that's upside down. Suddenly you got an Embraer one. It's interchangeable, right? This is kind of, think of the Formula One cars. Okay, move this steering wheel, put on a new steering wheel. It seems to be going that way, and this is nothing new in hardware. We see it. Thrustmaster have done this for a long time. When it came to their steering wheels, you can interchange the wheels. We saw Moza, you can interchange their wheels as well. We're starting to see this now come into flight simulation, and even with Thrustmaster, they have a brand new base, which is actually very, very good. It's Thrustmaster's version of what Virpil have already deployed. It's very, very good. I got a little bit of hands-on, and it feels wonderful. So there's all these kind of innovations being made, but it's what are they not telling us? What are they working on next? And I got a sense of that from Honeycomb yesterday. As I said, I saw something that has said Jesus, but once they start announcing these things, once all that rubbish with we don't care about that's drama. Who wants the drama? I don't want the drama. Give us the hardware. Give us the add-ons. I don't want to know how long it took you to cut the grass. give us the stuff we need. Once that's all sorted and we see what's going to come down the line, it's like, wow, super exciting stuff.
Yeah, and clearly force feedback is the hype, right? And it's what folks are bringing to. I did show folks yesterday as well the base and the size of that thing. You'd really want it under your desk or connected even to your chair rather than because otherwise you'll be trying to fly like this with it so high. But that's definitely I think what is in our futures. Murph, I do want to move on and ask you about the expo itself. So look, you're in Las Vegas, so my heart doesn't bleed for you too much, but at the same time, it's what is it? The goods of 24 hours door to door. So from the time you close your front door to the time you walk into your hotel room, it's a lot, and it's the other side of the world, but it is still Las Vegas, so I don't really mind so much. But it's a lot out of your time, a lot of expense and so forth. How has it been for you? Has it been worthwhile? Has it been better than Houston last year? And are you looking forward to next year? So how's it been overall? Because you're on the last stint of the final day. So what's your overall impression?
Yeah, look, it's the expo itself, and I got a chance to chat to Evan there last night, and I was just like, what a trooper, right? I mean, Evan does this is not his full-time gig. I mean, he's real pilot, and he's flat out busy, and that he managed to pull this out of the jaws of defeat, right? With the Tropicana, which should have been over there somewhere. Well, it's still partly there, but for me, on a personal voyage, it's cool because, well, you're in Las Vegas, right? I mean, it's absolutely nuts. Everything you see and hear on TV, well, it's true, right? I mean, they're only over there. Look, if you look hard enough, you'll see them. All the mad stuff that goes on here, and it's Disneyland for adults without a question. And it's mad, right? And America's great because, well, everything's bigger. Like even the measures, like Lord suffered in Gibbo, the measures, right? How are you? Can I get a gin and Sprite? Yeah. And in Ireland, anywhere else, in fact, they'll put a measure of gin and then they'll top it up. Maybe we just didn't tell the Americans how to pour a drink, but they'll top it up with gin and it's a splash of Jesus. So you'll have a drink and it's oh man, right?
How much is it though? Is it $20?
It depends. And I'm a complete miser, so tipping. So it's that bad. I go to bar staff. It's like, I don't know what do I tip? What do you want? $1, and they're looking at you. Oh Jesus, okay. Do you want $2? And there's Jesus, you want $3? Yeah, we'll take $3. Okay, there's $3. I'm very bad, right? Very shocking bad. But no, from the social scene, for me, for Expo is for me, it's all about getting to meet people. It's catching up with folks who I haven't seen in a year. And because last year was just, for me, it was a wow moment. It was getting to meet our community members. And then you have the entire Flight Sim community at large, meeting new people. It's just an incredible experience to be able to shake the hand or give hugs or a high five or a fist pump. And I had people coming up to me saying, I taught them the word Egypt, and some of the accents are funny. And Egypt, yeah, I know what you mean. We call them idiots. And I was like, Jays, no Egypt, no Egypt, yeah, Egypt, yeah, you're right. So it's hilarious and it's very humbling. And then you get to meet with the different content creators, of course, which again. It's so unique in the Flight Sim community, right? Content creators in any other sphere, they would be very competitive because, no, back off, this is my turf. I haven't found that when it comes to Flight Sim content creators. Everyone is so humble. They're very, very friendly. You get a good time. I had a great conversation with Jamie with London Controller. He's as tall as I am. I was like, Jamie, I tell you, we're small. Really, really nice, very humble, and just able to have the chat on how you're getting on. The same meeting Kenko and all the other, XB, Blue Games, Mark from SimHanger, everyone who I've met, they've just been the nicest people you can possibly meet, and I genuinely mean that. They're just nice people. There's no agenda. Do you know what I mean? And then the developers, you get to meet them as well, and they're it's a human element. We're all freaking human at the end of the day, and we just get on. There's still Muppets, right? Absolutely. There's I thought you were a Muppet online. Now that I've met you, you're a complete Muppet.
Who exactly?
Right? Hang on, I wrote it down in my little black book. This fella's a gobshite, right? But it's gas. You meet people who you might think are really, really nice, and it doesn't come across that way. And then you meet people who you think will be standoffish, and they're actually wonderful. It's amazing to experience all of that. So that was the general crack of meeting things at Expo, but of course you have the logistics, right? So I was my journey started back in Shannon, and I went in and I spent time in it. I never sent you the video. I'm an idiot. Can I send it to you now? I can send it to you now, but it doesn't make sense to show you the video when I'm here of how did I get here. Right, I'm smart when it comes to this stuff. But I was right. So I was walking around Shannon and the museums and all this, and like Shannon Airport, lads, without a doubt the best airport in the world. Not only because duty free was created there, which it was, but it was like 20 minutes from getting out of the car to standing at the jetway for the plane. 20 minutes, and that was with US pre-clearance as well.
Wow.
So if it's worth driving from Dublin to go to Shannon, right? Because you don't queue. It's just great. But getting into Chicago was amazing, and that airport is absolutely huge. And what I found shocking, it was instantly recognizable from Drzevecki Designs Chicago. It's like, I know this place, and it was it Drzevecki?
Huh?
I think it was. It's crazy. It's like, oh look, that's what that place is. And then when we got down to Vegas, I said, I better stay up. Don't go to bed yet. And Jepson was around. He rented a car, an electric car. Greta would be happy with Jepson. And we rambled off to a shop, got some supplies in, and I said, right, we'll stay up for a little bit, but not too late. 8 o'clock should do it. That'll be like, a long time. But you're in Vegas, so I did the dog in it. Stayed up till about 12 o'clock. And but it fixed the jet lag. I had no jet lag, which was great. So the Thursday rambling around was that was a lot of fun because it was just, well, who's here? And our community, we share a lot of viewers with Kando and the Kandonians. Kando's an absolute screamer. We've a lot of fun messing around. We got ourselves into fierce trouble even last night. We were out last night. And,
he's messaging in chat, Black 17. So
Black 17, right? So a spot of gambling last night. Now it's me, right? I'm miserable. So I said, right, I'll bet $10 now. That's the bet. So put $10 into the machine, and the way you play it now, if you do it right, Gibbo, this is brilliant. It did right. If you put your tenner in and just wait for a little while, eventually someone will approach you. Would you like a drink, sir? Yes, I would. And it's free. It's because you're gambling, right?
Okay.
So, right. So it's needless to say, I had about 5 drinks for the first half an hour, 40 minutes, because 50-cent bets, right? So, yes, and you win back $1. It's like, woo, jackpot, and you're only there for the beer. But anyway, we were betting along and having the crack, and 17, it has to be number 17. I was told, Murph, 17. So on every single round, I bet on 17. Come on, 17, right? Every single bet. And I was down to, I think it was down to like $2. Kando put in a couple of $1 just to top me up. I've got your back, Murph, you're grand. Oh, Jesus, thanks very much. And next thing, I put it on 17, and that came in like $108. And like the lads are just like, yeah, nice. Absolute dirtbag, right? So we're going to be here till 5 a.m. now. Like we're betting this. And the same crack happened again, and I said, look, I'm up. So at $60, if it drops below $60, we're going home. That's it. Yeah. So like this is like 3 o'clock this morning, right? Still getting fed with beer. There's still loads of it there. Myself and Kanda were sitting next to each other going, what are we doing? And then my last bet, I put a $3 bet on. So I brought the balance from like $63 down to 60. I said, right, this is the last one. We're going to bed now. 17 come in again. And nice. Yeah, dirtbag, right? So yeah, it was a free night drinking. It was great, but it's a lot of fun. Yeah, it's a lot of fun. The head in me now today. I haven't ventured out so far today. Right, that's my view.
Wow,
right?
Look at that.
I woke up. Do you know what I mean? So yeah. I think the plan now today, it's kind of the wind down. Is the goodbyes to everyone who's here. We'll probably go out for a spot of dinner later on. I want to tip down maybe to Fremont here. It's really, really nice. But as a venue, right, that what Expo have done, Vegas is great. To me, it's not very suitable for like the smaller audience because you're limited what you can do. The pool facilities are amazing, but you're limited what you can kind of do. You're in a casino, like it's what you do. But I will say this: having the venue in the same area as the hotel, I loved Houston because it was aviation. There was planes all over the place, and it was great. The only problem with Houston, it was the logistics. Had the hotel have been part of the airport or whatever, it'd have been a much better venue. So I'm very excited to find out where next year's expo is going to be. Vegas is great because they're built for this stuff. It's convention centers, and like it's no word of a lie. It's about a 20-minute walk from my room down to the convention center. It's in the same building. The scale here is absolutely friggin' massive. It's just huge. Like 8 bars or 12 bars. Number of different restaurants. Like I get lost in the place. I actually did get lost in the place. I had to ring. Where am I? Look up. Oh yeah. That's me. But no, I think it's a venue. It's very, very good. So yeah, it's been awesome. Absolutely incredible.
And of course, we'll hear soon what the venue is for next year's expo as well. I think that session, which is a wrap up from Evan, it's usually a lot of thank yous, and like you say, it starts to filter out really starting from today. So we'll find out where that venue is for next year, and we can start planning. I think a lot of us are like, we want to be there. We cannot miss this again.
absolutely.
So, yeah, totally get it. Murph, just a couple of minutes to spare. So I do want to ask you about your return and when that is and your plans. But before I do, was there anything else related to this expo that you wanted to cover that we didn't quite touch on or are you happy we've covered most of it? I think so, right?
Well, I think you're right. I think I can speak for everyone. Over the last 3 to 4 days of Expo, the coverage that has been provided, right, that you've been able to provide by
Hello there.
you can talk to me on a phone, but I think a massive show of appreciation, because the time you've taken out, Gibbo, to put us in a position to do all this. I'm off having the crack and going out for pints and winning money on betting. Go on 17, but none of this would have transpired or been able to be delivered in such a way if it wasn't for you. And I think it's people, a lot of folks I've complimented on the production value is very, very good, but that's all Gibbo. I mean, that by now. Like Gibbo just say, Murph, it looks shit, would you fix it? Right. But, right, and not even me face, right? No, cut your hair, will you? Right? But it's not genuinely, like, this just couldn't have happened. And like there's other content creators were singing our praises over the weekend as well. The objective was, can we collectively be able to get you guys more involved with Flight Sim Expo, give you the sense that you may not be able to be here in person, but you're absolutely caught up to date, and us as a full community are all able to share the experiences of, okay, we know what's happening, all the information is there. Murph's gone off wearing his Crocs and he got sunburned. And I didn't actually get sunburned yet. Well, I did on my neck, but I'm wearing makeup so you can't see it. But I'm not wearing makeup. But you know what I mean? So none of this would have been possible without Gibbo. And it's a true thing, mate, because even last year we were saying there was a bit of kind of dead time in between events, and the two of us were sitting there going, Jesus, if only we put up a stream now. And even though we did stream last year, which was great, we wouldn't have been able to have this. And there's so many people after coming in to the channel over the last few days. YouTube is blown up, so everyone watching on YouTube, apologies for if I am in 4K, the head in it. Also, Gibbo managed to get Twitch into friggin' 2K as well. I'm 5 years streaming, lads, never been able to do it. Gibbo's at it 5 minutes, he pressed the button, Murph, it's in 4K. Yeah, right, so he was able to do that, and which is brilliant. But the brainchild behind all of this and making the whole thing possible, it's all been Gibbo, and really, really do appreciate it, mate. It's great knowing that you have our back in Ireland, Yeah,
I'm getting all the
but you're still only getting that sticker. That's all. I have a sticker over here.
I'll get a sticker. Thanks. No, I appreciate it. Murph, as you say, really, it was just we were at Houston last year, and we're like, wish we could stream, wish we had the production behind it, wish we had a way to seamlessly go from live shop floor to the actual seminars and back, and you were able to get us permission to be able to do some of the additional seminars as well that others weren't, which was amazing. We can't. There was a question that the next seminar is due to start. We can't move over to that because they're not permitting all the coverage. But at least by me being here, I was able to transition between what was going on in seminars and live to Murph. So hopefully it gave you, as Murph said, a bit of a better experience of the expo as far as being remote from it and what it's like to be there. So thank you all, and everybody's been so kind and thoughtful. We had techie problems throughout, but we got through it, and but it's back to you as normal. Tell us about your return, Murph, the return journey home, and when we'll see you back live streaming.
Right, so wheels up tomorrow morning at, I think, 10:30, and it's going to be a flight from Vegas back to Chicago, quick stop in Chicago, and then straight back then to Shannon. I'll be arriving home Tuesday morning at about 7 o'clock. So next week's schedule will be, we're planning for Wednesday at 1900 Zulu. We're going to be planning up a stream, and it's a catch-up of the antics that we saw, but also we can go through in detail the news events of add-ons, and again, it'd be a nice catch-up with myself and Gibbo, because I'd say, like, for you guys to see, I think it'd be great to share a bit of insight behind the production. Like, I mean, literally sitting in me jock saying, right, Gibbo, how are we going to do this now in an hour's time? Or we should do it this way. It's a bit of crack when you see it, right?
Yeah.
And so it's a busy enough week when we get back. There's going to be group flights. There's a ton of add-ons after getting released, including the Huey, and there's a lot of cool stuff to catch out. It's business as usual. 777, you're right, yeah, and MD11 as well. So a lot of content to get through when we get back. But for everyone for tuning in, if you're new here, thank you very, very much indeed. It's been awesome having you guys share your time with us. For all our own members as well, guys, thanks so much for tuning in and staying abreast and putting up with the Muppetry. That's me. Gibbo, you played an absolute flamer. It's been brilliant. And it's just great to see the viewer numbers, the interactions that we always have, the likes on the videos, and then of course all the after party, the chats that go on Discord. I'm still there. I'm reading them. I've read through all the questions you guys had. I asked all of them, right? Some stuff I can say, it's grand, right? And then other stuff we can't say. But over the next couple of weeks, we'll be able to do a little bit more on that as well. So yeah, it's been awesome. So back normal on Wednesday. Well, I say normal as I can be on Wednesday.
Brilliant. I think you've said it perfectly, Murph. So thank you all for amazing support. Truly, I'm delighted to hand back to Murph because there's lots of buttons. It is an orchestration of chaos, and he is the best man for that. But so I'm looking forward to being back to my normal position, which is taking the piss out of streamers, particularly my favorite Irish one, rather than actually streaming himself. Just before we go as well, just in case you are in Europe, and in case you are interested in meeting this mug and that mug, we are doing a meetup. We are doing a TwoToneMurphy Firefly meetup on the 21st of July in Dublin, in Ireland. So details are on our Discord. I'll pop that into the chat if you want to join in. It would be great to see you in person, and Murph might be able to give us even more insights that he can't say out loud here. So be great to see as many of you as possible.
Definitely.
If you're
definitely
interested in
if you want the give it to cut across. If you want the inside scoop, if you can make it to our Dublin meetup, I'll tell you everything, because then I have absolute deniability. I did not say that, right?
I will definitely tap into that wallet of Murph's too. More importantly, you don't know that, Murph, but that's going to happen. So, right, thank you all so much for your support and for joining us over the last 3 days. Murph will be back, as he says, as normal, live streaming on Twitch and YouTube on Wednesday, and I will bid you farewell. Murph, over to you to wrap it up and sign us off. Take care, everybody.
Sweet.
Thank you so much.
Well, again, just to echo, thank you all so very, very much. What a great number of days it's been. It's been busy. I'm jaded, but yeah, it's having you guys here and keeping us company and your comments, and it's just been incredible. Thank you all so very, very much indeed. And of course, to say it again, Gibbo's played an absolute stormer, and it's for me. I've really enjoyed this because it's something new that we can do on the channel, and it worked flawlessly. And Gibbo's very, very modest. I'm telling you, it's extremely difficult doing what we do in terms of the tech behind it. And thank God he said it, because now I feel far less of the aegis I did. I thought it was just me, right? So the fact that Gibbo knows there's a bit of extra holy crap that you have to kind of put into these things. But the enjoyment is that, well, hopefully you guys enjoy it as well. And it's clearly that seems to be the case with all you guys here. So thank you all so very, very much indeed. Enjoy the rest of your evening, and we start a new week coming from tomorrow. I'll be back in front of the screen on Wednesday, 1900 Zulu. Really looking forward to catching up with everyone then. If you have any questions or anything else you want left covered that wasn't covered in our streams over the last few days, let us know on Discord. It's in the Flight Sim Expo 2024 channel. Any questions you'd like to go to, it could be content creators, it could be developers, or even with Microsoft directly themselves. Just let us know. The day is not over yet, so let us know, and I'll try and get to them there today. So from me, from Las Vegas, I'll do my outro here now, and well, we'll see you on Wednesday. Thank you so much for tuning in. I'll see you soon.
There's the hammock. You're joking. Oh, behave! We was talking to Jesus about a Wilga, and then he came to the place. Brilliant! Look at me controls, they're gone fully to the left. Ah, mind the building. The Norwegians are going to be sour with us now. Power, man, power. Is there damage in this plane? Does it remember you if you break it? Oh, there's trees. Somebody think of the birds. Oh, no. Right, it's okay. Shh, shh, shh. It's totally fine. Oh, look at it. We've entered the Matrix. Did you hear the noise? I mean, look at that for the view, look. Imagine looking out the window and seeing that. Jesus, though. You know what I mean? It's absolutely class looking. Hang on a second. There's the roundabout. Easy now, Murph, easy. Yeah, add a bit of stink there now. What's the job? Bit of stall. Now we're talking. Now, oh, Jesus. Get in there now, you divilya. We're looking better here now, lads. Oh, that was painful. Get down. Oh, Jesus. Oh, no, we tipped it over. We're now, like, eating the ground like an ostrich. Oh, we've got a gun sight. This is a beta, so I'm not too worried. It looks great though, doesn't it? Listen to this. There he goes. Right, here's this Aegis. Go on, Kane, you devil, you. It's like a friggin' crow trying to come in, look.